Vamos a jugar. Dale.
You are now listening to The Sports Table.
You know what's funny about Hailey? I went to a restaurant. I had to pick up some food. I go to the restroom, all Hispanic. You know, you see like flies everywhere. I look to my left, and it says blokes. I look to my right, and it says Sheila's. I'm like, so these are the doors at Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah, they just stole the Outback
They stole
doors.
the signs from the Outback Steakhouse, and they put it on the front of their doors.
With Chris.
I was hacked here at work on my Facebook, and a friend of mine posted a status of the closet is dark, I'm coming out. And everyone was like, it's about time. I have to change something about my personality. Bring my girlfriend as many places as I can.
Theo Carlos.
That
Shit off
first
them.
take show, for the love of Jesus, man. That's like watching the Bravo channel, man. With Skiptora Bayless and Stefania A. Smith. Give me a freaking break, man. Housewives of Bristol. And watch those two little bitches bicker back and forth.
Alan.
I'm very curious because they present something completely different from the general politics amongst the big families. And I just don't know what to expect out of those two. Maybe we're taking over a dragon?
What's that?
And Theo George.
No, yeah. No, except for last night. Yeah. I mean, no, you know what? I'm going to go back to watching. I don't know what I'm watching. Toda la mierda que está ahí, ¿qué cosa hay?
Because here, nothing is off the table.
Can you imagine that conversation when they start nailing it in there? Yes.
No, I want the explanation.
Que lo que es un bloke.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know how many people?
Chila?
You know how many,
¿Cuánto va un chila?
you know how many people have stopped in front of the doors and gone back and asked, where the hell is the men's bathroom?
Porque vi un bloke ahí, pero ¿qué es eso?
¿Qué coño bloque y chila ni un carajo, chico?
Under the deeper into uncertainty, the unknown has shown grace, but yet the third degree. Lessons from the truth moves closer, so can you pay the fee? From A to B, cascade rain, I hate to be voice of the
Woo!
I am Esquire, shape of
We are back.
I am the star child, sightless, going beyond the
This is
song
hot,
timeless.
Alan.
Righteous,
This is the beginning of my non-American music I'm bringing in.
Welcome back to the Sports Table, everybody. Alan's got the music today.
So expect something a little odd.
Before we get into the music, though, we have to run over the roster. No uncles again, so we pull deep within our bench. And we have the 6th man and 7th man of the year.
Who's the number 6?
No comment. But I'm Chris. You're listening to the Sports Table. I'm joined again by Alan each show.
Yo!
We have Stemmer for the second appearance today. Stemmer.
What up?
Stemmer, you got some learning to do. Let's see the progress. And we got Jason coming in today. Jason actually a full-time member today.
Yeah.
Covering in for Theo George's mic. Last time you were here was only one of the video game segment?
Yeah, I played on the video game segment, and I just kind of sat back and pretty much did nothing.
And watched me win.
Basically doing as much as my Uncle George, so that's the case.
It's okay. I'll try not to cough into the microphone at least.
Alan, you got the music this week.
I do.
Talk about what this is.
Well, basically, you know, I said before, I'm an eccentric guy, and in my preparation for what I plan to be a kind of a trolled music excursion, one of the artists, his name is, I believe they're Dujas Bez. I don't remember the name exactly. I know it's the guy's name in Japanese spelled backwards.
Hey, cool.
But he's a Japanese DJ and producer. He does a lot of jazz hip-hop music.
But this is in English.
Well, he has other guys that come in. If you play a song that's just his, it's just the hip-hop jazz beat by itself. Think of like a house DJ, no words. You got to bring somebody in for it. So he has a set of guys that come in.
Oh, I got you.
So I pick mostly songs with some rappers in there so we can actually understand words. But it's just a very mellow, more artistic version of what we deal with here in hip-hop.
I just imagine him whenever he sweats, he has like the giant one drop on the side, and his eyes are always horizontal, constantly throwing up the peace sign. That's all I know about Japanese culture.
You know what's funny? That peace sign to them is V for victory.
Oh, really? That's what
yeah,
that
they'll
means?
look at you and go V.
Oh.
That's gonna be Chris's next touchdown dance when we play flag football again.
Just gonna look at
He's
us.
just gonna
V.
catch it and go.
Damn, West Welker,
Go like that.
mother
Squint
bleeper.
my face together and smile really big. Make a smile that's big, like 3 times the size of my head. What are other anime sort of gifts like that? Like when they get angry, they have the tic-tac-toe sign over their head.
Yeah, that's
and the
supposed to be
steam out the ears.
There's when they're shocked, they all fall to the ground at the same time.
Oh, right.
There's that one.
Right.
The nosebleed whenever.
Yep. If someone is mildly aroused or sees something arousing, they start bleeding out their nose.
What?
Like a girl walks in with giant boobs, and a dude will just have a nosebleed. Japan believes being aroused is a nosebleed. I don't understand why, but it's a joke that keeps coming up in different series. Trust me, they believe this.
Only the Japanese will defile being aroused like that, bleeding out of your nose.
Yeah, but people are like addicted to that stuff. That's like a big
nose
industry.
bleeding.
No, the anime and
Yeah,
stuff.
No, I get that.
You're looking at two guys that are very into it.
I get that.
I have this artist
don't
because he
understand
did a
the
song for an
connection.
anime.
I don't understand the connection.
You're never going to understand the connection out of Japan. They're weird.
Dude,
I watch their stuff. They're weird.
I've seen like 15 minutes of that stuff, and I just no way, not gonna happen.
Well,
And I that's I have kids that put up with SpongeBob. I
That's
can't
what
put
I
up with
was gonna
anime
say.
crap.
You got little kids. I mean, that's
Yeah, I mean,
that's
if
the
one
next
of them
step.
gets
That's like,
if one of them gets into the anime stuff, then we'll see. But I tried to watch one time. No, not happening.
Well,
Really?
what you wanted into.
Not happening.
Yeah, there's anime for everybody. There's
Yeah.
like different categories. If you watch like the stupid like high school anime, then that's not gonna get very far.
I have no idea what I was watching. I just turned it on because I've heard a lot about it and didn't like it.
you know what? I don't believe this, but I gotta say it in honor of my Theo Carlos. Freaking nerds, bro.
You're a bunch of geeks.
Welcome back to the Sports Table. We have a lot to get to today. A lot of sports. Don't you feel, Alan, that we're sort of getting back into our normal selves? Because there was 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row where we had nothing.
Dude,
Dead time in sports.
Nothing.
research
yeah, I know.
was so much easier this week. I did it in like a
Yeah.
half hour.
The
Yeah.
dead time in sports. I don't even listen to sports talk radio. I know that's like taboo, but oh my gosh, it's
I mean,
horrible.
I don't listen to sports talk radio either.
Well, I do. I got
I
nothing else
work
to
for
do.
a place and I barely.
I like
barely stay tuned.
That's great. Are you looking for a job when you come back from vacation?
Actually, I'm like you said. I'm going on vacation.
This will be the last show here, guys. Just shut it
Well,
down.
actually, we're gonna be gone next week. Next week we will have no show, but the following week we'll be back. Hopefully by full strength. I mean, Alan, what's it been? This is we went like on a 6 or 7. Actually, I would say up to
Should I walk out of the
9.
room now? Like, hopefully
No,
we're
no,
at
no,
full
you're
strength.
good.
Like,
You're
I've just
good.
been like dissed. Like,
You're
really?
not this. You're
It kind of
deep off the bench. You're the guy that I come in. Come on, Stemmer.
It kind of hurts. I feel like I'm
Hopefully-
James Jones
hopefully-
coming off the bench.
Hopefully at full strength.
If you're James Jones, you're getting a good paycheck. Stop your bitching.
Hey, I don't care if it's a good paycheck. I want
And if
more
he's
time.
getting James Jones money, where's mine?
Yeah. Wait, forget if he's getting it. Where's my money?
Yeah, well, Damon Jones over here to the left. But anyway, we had a good run of, I would say, 8 or 9 where everyone was here in studio, and I said it too.
Yeah.
And then every week since then, it hasn't been a full staff. We've had to pull from the bench. Halfbeard came in last week.
I feel like George is trying to sabotage us.
Well,
Because any chance he gets, he seems to be
he's
missing
like,
in
yeah.
action.
I don't know. Anytime Carlos is gone, that's George's cue. Like
Yeah.
I'm gone.
I'm
There's no
excused.
way.
There's nobody to give me crap. I'm
Yeah,
out.
Exactly. Well, we have great guys to come off the bench. Again, like I said, Stemmer, he knows and he'll be the Dolphin fanatic for today because he's Mr. Positive about everything with the Dolphins. we got Jason in. Jason went to the Marlins game. How many games have you gone to this season or this year? One
Just
ever?
one.
Is that your first Marlins game?
No, well, in the new stadium. I hadn't been to a game because I was living in KC for a while.
Oh, okay.
I went to Royals games last year, if that counts.
That's just as bad, I would think.
I'd cry for you if I
No,
was
it's not
an
bad. I'm
emotional
sure
guy.
they don't have a scumbag owner.
We have to get into
They're a very beloved team over there.
We got to get into the Marlins a little bit later. MLB.com did a poll about who the face of the Marlins is, and we'll get into what
Oh God, I loved your suggestion.
what they what they decided to. But we got Dolphins. We got Roudy coming in later on in the show. He'll actually sit in studio with us. He's coming from the training camp, and he will tell us all the nonsense that happens because everyone hyper reacts and they knee jerk for everything. You know, Tannehill misses Mike Wallace, and now it's a bust. That was what a terrible signing that was.
Yeah,
Which what?
No, it was day one
Wallace.
of training camp when he missed the deep route.
Yeah,
Everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's
they'll
not gonna
never-
work.
They'll never click.
They're not in sync.
Yeah, and then
They've only been together for a half hour. How
and
can
it's-
this work?"
It's also on the positive. The defense looks great. You know,
yeah.
they're going up against the Dolphins' offense, so we could look great against that. You know, so there's always reactions there.
Hey,
So
Mr. Negativity, get your ticket out the door. Yeah.
we got Dolphins to get into later. We're having Ricky from MLB.com. Ricky Rory. I don't say his last name a lot because I mix it up, but Ricky Rory from MLB.com. He'll be calling in from New York. So we can talk A-Rod and Yankees, and then we'll get into a little bit of Knicks and how
God, I'm gonna love that team. I hate them, and I'm gonna love them so much.
it's going to be a circus up in New York this season. So we'll get into that with him a little bit later, make fun of him. Like I said, Marlins, Tito Martinez, which I didn't realize was on
I
the
didn't
coaching.
either.
He resigns for verbal abuse, and I'm sure the coach from Rutgers that got fired, he's like, yeah, you know, they're real hard on us. They're starting their own clique. So we got a lot to get to today, but we will start off with the NBA. And there's only a little bit of NBA news, but it's funny to me because there were trades. Not trades. There was a trade, and there were free agent signings. And Indiana's making moves, and that I'm actually alarmed
those
about.
scoundrels.
Oh,
So we'll start off with the trade first. Last night?
It was last night. Yeah.
Last night, Detroit makes a trade. I said it to you guys off air. They make a trade to shoot 30% from the field
yeah.
because they make a trade and they bring in Brandon Jennings to
Yeah.
go with Josh
Oh
Schmidt.
yeah.
Can you imagine?
Championship.
They're just gonna be chucking balls up from all over the court.
Mo Cheeks is gonna come out with whiter hair than Jimmy Cephalo.
Poor Detroit. Detroit's sitting back saying our city is bankrupt, and this is what
Oh,
you guys do
God.
to us, you
Oh
bastards.
God, that's
I
a
don't know.
shot in the gut.
What's worse is that somebody thought that was a good decision at some point. They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna get Brandon Jennings. That's gonna be awesome."
You know what it is? Is Joe Dumars looking at it like, oh yeah, if I don't get the 8th seat, I'm out of the job. So you know what? 8th seat, here I come. Give me Brandon Jennings.
They would get the 8th seed out of the East if they would have kept Brandon Knight. And by the way, Brandon Knight, he's a guy that my brother played against because he went down here.
Yeah.
What school did he go to down here?
University school?
No.
No. I meant
It was-
like high school.
Yeah, university school's a high school.
Oh, is it?
It was
I thought
one
you
of
meant
those.
university
I
school.
think university school.
I'm trying to remember
It's
because
a green and yellow team. University's a green and yellow. I got to think about it because I
I thought it was like Pinecrest.
It might be Pinecrest.
Yeah, because I remember I was still coaching.
No,
the
it
first
might
time
be
we saw him.
Pinecrest.
Well, he's a local boy from down
Yeah.
here, and his whole NBA career has been not so top 10.
So,
Basically,
that poor guy.
basically, he's been crossed over in the All-Star game, and he died, and then he resurrected and he got traded when he was dunked on by DeAndre Jordan. So that's Miami
That's
product right there.
Such a not fair experience for him. I mean, what the hell do you do with DeAndre Jordan?
Get out of
Get
the
out
way.
of the way. Get out of the
Get
way.
the hell out of the way. So he got traded to Milwaukee. I'm not sure what Milwaukee's trying to do.
Well,
I don't.
They're trying to
I
get
think
into
with
the
any of
lottery
these
next year.
well, I think there's two things you'll see teams doing now, and I can't speak to this trade because I didn't really look into. But they're either A, trying to set themselves up for free agency next year because of everyone that's supposedly going to be going different places, and then the B is supposedly in next year's draft. There's not one but two LBJ, Dwayne Wade types that are franchise makers.
Right.
And so it's to me it's become comical. Like the whole lottery thing, it's just I hope every team that is trying to tank the season loses the lottery. Like as much as I can't stand the lottery. I think it's one of the most absurd things in sports.
Right.
I hope it screws all these teams who are legitimate. I mean, because the Heat did what they did, but they still tried to compete.
Excuse me. They won 15 games one year.
Yeah,
on
but
purpose.
But they tried.
On purpose.
No. Look, what they did on purpose is, but in the years leading up to after that succeeding year, they put competitive teams on the court, still trying to accomplish their goal. They didn't just say, we'll just sign anybody and not compete.
Yeah.
They tried to compete. They just made sure they got contracts that were favorable to what they wanted to do in 2010.
That's why Chalmers was the only guy on the team that
they
time.
didn't. I can't say that they tried. They didn't try and tank necessarily.
No, they lost weight that season.
And he's right though. In the 15-game season, I think they lost.
They lost Wade forever. That's when he was coming back from the shoulder.
They sat Wade. It wasn't a season-ending career. But it wasn't a season-ending career. He could have come back, and they sat him the rest of the way.
Because at the end,
there was 40 games left in the season, and they were like, okay, we've only won 7 games.
But wait a minute. And that pick ended up being Michael Beasley anyway. So who cares?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That you said that he didn't try to tank, but let's be fair, that he tanked. Absolutely,
I don't think not, but I disagree.
They signed Sean Marion. That's
and by the way, if they tanked,
of course that is.
If they tanked, they got screwed for tanking because
they
didn't
did
get the number
screwed.
one. They got screwed by the lottery. I think that you see a lot of teams are making decisions either trying to catch the heat, which Indiana has done. A couple other teams have done, or positioning themselves for either the draft or free agency upcoming.
Or what Detroit's done, and they're going to waste away. Because what the hell? Those contracts are long enough that they're ruining that free agent idea, and they're not going to tank well enough to do anything.
Era, I think you're seeing in sports, in the era of sports that we live in, being mediocre is just not good. It's
Dolphins.
Dolphins. The Dolphins are a great example of that. We'll talk about that later.
God, I'm spazzing.
It's NBA. I mean, name it. It's not. It just you don't seem to be able to achieve the highest level by being just good. You got to try and be bad to be good, so on and so forth. And I just think you're seeing. So you're right. The Detroit's, the Milwaukee. I mean, how long has Milwaukee been languishing in that 8, 9?
Every year they've existed.
And so
Atlanta.
But
Atlanta,
perennial 5 seed.
Atlanta's made it to 5-4 at least.
Yeah, but that's mediocre. That's Dolphin territory right
no,
there.
that's
no.
Of course that is.
I'll take the number 4 seed in the AFC playoffs. What are you talking
Well,
about?
it's different. It's different. We're just talking about 7 and 9. They're barely 500 most of their careers.
I think, but you could get into all sorts of debates about the watered down of the stuff like that. But ultimately, teams after what Miami's kind of like the pioneer here. Positioning themselves in a way to be able to attack free agency big time, not just one guy, 2 guys. They got 3 guys that summer, I think, and I think you see the other teams are trying to model that now, and I think it's the same thing about the draft. Like you haven't really heard about teams tanking the way at here at the beginning, where you have the talking heads pointing at certain teams and saying they're trying to get one of the top 2 draft picks already. Like we haven't played a game, they haven't put a team on the court, but just by their moves, and so I think that's what you're starting to see is that teams are trying to follow that blueprint that Miami put out there of positioning yourselves a year, 2 years, 3 years ahead of the curve so that you can be in position to make a move.
I get that teams are trying to make moves. I understand why Detroit doesn't want to keep missing the playoffs. People's jobs are on the line. Yeah, you don't want to get fired.
No, I think he made a very valid point. What is Joe Dumars supposed to do?
Yeah, well, you don't sign Josh Smith for a max deal, but that's just me.
You're right. No, you're absolutely correct. Well,
you are, but he's right. What do you do? Because if he lets it keep going, they haven't proven that they draft well anyway. So he's got to try to pick up talent somehow.
Right.
But there's almost no way, unless you've drafted well or you have someone bringing talent in for you, like Dwayne Wade did for us, there's no way to get good without either sucking really bad or having a great recruitment schedule.
Mm-hmm. You see what's funny? Just to bomb on one team in particular because I don't like them, the Charlotte Bobcats, how many times have they gotten, lottery
who's
picks
making their
high up
picks?
at the top?
Who's making their picks?
Not only that, though, but then they make a mega deal with Al Jefferson. They sign a mega deal with Al Jefferson.
Look, man,
that's one of those moves that you're like, okay, let's win now, but you're not going to win now.
I don't care what David Stern tries to argue for the CBA, and part of I think what I get angry about in the league is that the CBA is there to protect idiots.
Yeah, I think we talked
about it, and the Bobcats are the prime example of just idiots.
No, but there's a lot of them out there. Think about that summer of 2010. I'll never forget as a Heat fan sitting there. And I was one of those who I had all my faith in Roudy, but at the same time, I'm saying, man, like he's all in on these 3 guys. What if he loses out on 1 or 2 of them? We're hosed because the dominoes started to fall. Amari Stoudemire, Carlos Boozer, I think Josh Smith was part of that group. They were all
Joe
getting
Johnson.
Joe Johnson. They were all getting max contracts. But you look back now, and Riley had some foresight there. None of those guys were worth max contracts. None of them have played to the potential of having a max contract. I mean, talk about a max contract with LeBron James compared to a max contract with any of those guys. It's not even comparable. And so there's very few guys in the league that you could hit. And that summer, it just, to me, it transformed. And look, you got a new CBA that was built because of that summer. You have teams doing things now because of that. I mean, that whole summer just totally changed the way teams look at free agency and the way that they try and acquire talent.
Oh, even players in league. You saw Dwight Howard. The first thing he asked in Houston was, "How can we get someone else? How can you add to Harden and me?"
Yeah, but that guy's a moron.
Well, but like he's not the only one. Everyone else now is going places.
Look
Same
at
thing.
He might be a moron.
CP3 stayed with the Clippers because he knows he has known quantities there.
Yeah,
like he didn't take the risk of going somewhere else where he might not have had a known quantity. I mean, it's the way of, and that's why you're going to see a lot of teams do ugly things, I think, like this, simply because they want to try and get in on the action. They think they need one star to lure two, to lure three, but the problem is being able to, and when you have money to spend, what are you going to do?
Well, that's the thing. Some players are getting max deals, and they don't deserve it.
And that's my
who
point.
got signed? You know who got signed today for $100 million for 5 years? John Wall. The man averages 16 points a game. You just signed him to a max deal.
But the guy is the Wizards franchise. They have nobody else.
That's why that's a terrible franchise, if that's the case.
Well, but again, you look at around the league, how many, and this is where I think it's pretty sad, but this is where you're at. They have money to spend. Who else are you going to spend it on?
You don't have to spend it. You don't, but
then you're so
Your
horribly
fan base,
off.
yeah,
You lose the
I
fan base. You
think-
become the Marlins.
I think for a long time out with the Clippers, that was the problem with that guy. He wouldn't spend. I remember in the days of Lamar Odom, they had
Darius Miles, Quentin Richardson. They had
Elton
Brand.
Elton Brand was the other
guy
guy I was thinking about. And so he didn't want to spend to keep and they were perceived as this young, kind of like what they have out there now. And so I think as a franchise, you got to walk that delicate balance of, everyone knows, because the numbers are thrown out there constantly, ESPN, whatever, this is the amount of the salary cap. Everybody assumes that each franchise has that much money to spend. I mean, the average fan, that's all they care about. Oh, $85 million. What are we doing with our $85 million or whatever it is? And so I think that's where you got to be really careful with how you do it. Look at in Dallas,
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. He's kind of flown on the radar. He really hasn't done anything since the championship. And I think he's trying to prepare for next year in one way or another. And he's got a big decision with Dirk Nowitzki and everything.
Yeah, because he comes off the books next year.
Yeah.
And that was part of, I think, their pitch to Dwight.
Yep.
That Dirk will be off the books and he'll take a pay cut. And then they gave up and signed Monta Ellis.
Right. So these are bad moves. These are terrible moves in the NBA. To move on to good moves, under the radar moves that I didn't realize until I heard or read about it. The Indiana Pacers, just to go over one team.
Oh, that's Scola move, man.
They signed Scola.
Scola,
they're not in the wait. They're not in the luxury tax. By the way, they made all these moves.
Yeah.
They replaced Psycho T with Luis Scola.
Yeah, that's the big
That's
switch.
3 miles away.
Yeah.
In regards to talent and efficiency. Then DJ Augustine, he was the worst. And who did they replace him with? Another 2 initial first names, CJ Watson.
No, I think that's if as a Heat fan, that's one of the 2 top things that concerns me greatly. Because when they put Augustine in the game, they mugged him and they were able to control the game with CJ Watson. And not only that, defensively, CJ Watson gives Mario Chalmers fits.
Right.
So that to me, I'm the Scola is for me personally, because Tyler Hansbrough got under our skin. I can't stand the guy. I hate the guy, and I can't. And so, but that's pretty funny actually.
Yeah, you heard that all the time.
It just registered
all the time in the morning show.
Didn't he go to Detroit? Didn't he go to Detroit?
I have no idea. He might have gone to a lab somewhere.
The second
or
concerning
ring.
thing to me, as you talk about the Pacers is, I don't like the amnesty deal with Mike Miller. I think it's a bad move. I understand the economics of it. I understand. No, I'm talking about on the court. Let's go win a third championship.
How many moments has he had with the Heat? You can hold it in one hand. For that price tag,
But it doesn't-
his productivity wasn't
But
worth
price
it.
tag. I'm sorry. Right now, price tags go out the window. You're working on history. You're working on look, and they haven't done anything to combat losing that. It's kind of like Shane Battier. Shane Battier doesn't have these overwhelming, but he's like part of the glue of the team. That's the way I kind of look at Mike Miller. And when you had to go without Dwayne Wade, when you had to go without Udonis Haslem, when you had to go without fill in the blank, Mike Miller was one of the guys you leaned heavily on, and you had the best record in the NBA because of a guy like Mike Miller being able to come in and perform when not having many minutes during the season.
I think you're giving him way too much credit.
I hope you're right. Look, I hope you're right because that means we're better off than. And look, I'm not saying that these teams have leapfrogged us by any stretch of the imagination. I just look at Mike Miller as one of those guys that you don't know what you're missing until you've missed it. It's not like if you were to take Ray Allen, well, we're no. I just think it's one of those things that you're going to get in the middle of a game and go, crap, what do we use? Oh, crap, it was Mike Miller.
Oh, come on. You're not going to be in the middle of a game going, I miss my 7 minutes a game.
But there was times where it wasn't 7. That's my point. And what was it? But down the stretch, when you completed your schedule for the best record in the NBA, and then down the stretch when you needed to beat the Pacers, when you needed to beat the Spurs, he played a lot of minutes. Why? You got to ask yourself that question. Why?
Well, I mean, if we're going to go
because the horse not was in Mars
game by game, that's
Yeah.
what
that was the big one because
Since
Battier was useless.
Yeah, Battier hadn't made a shot in like weeks.
Look,
And then the fact that they brought in Mike Miller and he was able to come off the bench and pick up the slack that Shane Battier had.
and that's my point. You don't. That's a luxury you've lost.
What did Mike Miller honestly provide? He provided 3-point
But
shooting.
but that's what I'm
He
talking
provided
about.
3-point shooting. His defense was not that good. He was getting blown away.
No, he could.
And
he
his
came into
rebound
a
was
game-
broken.
No. He came into a game and rebound. He handled the ball. Look, my point is this.
gosh.
Look, but you're missing the point, in my opinion, Chris. It's what he's saying. It's the ability when someone thinks someone's not going well to be able to say that guy can go in and do okay and keep us afloat. You don't know if you have that in James Jones. You don't know if you have that. I mean, who's going to fill that slot? And look, they're still going to make a move here. Whether it's Odin, whether it's whoever it is, they're still going to make a move. And again, I hope you're 100,000% right in the terms. And I understand it. I mean, Jeffrey, Mickey Arison was going to pay more in luxury tax than the Marlins payroll. I mean,
Right.
that's absurd. And so I get the move. As a Heat fan, I'm not disgusted by the move. I don't have a problem with it. It's nothing like that. I just watching sports, knowing how sports works, it worries me a little simply because of the what you knew you had in your back pocket.
Tyler Hansbrough, by the way, he signed with Toronto Raptors.
Woo!
So that's another one of those.
They have wrestling rings in Toronto.
Psycho team.
He has to
Probably,
go across the country.
He has to go to a
play
different country.
Canadian basketball. But going back to Indiana, though, because, okay, Luis Scola is a huge upgrade off the bench. Basically, they established the bench, something that they didn't have against the Heat.
Yep.
When you had Paul George and Roy Hibbert on the bench, that's when Miami went on those runs.
What do you think they do with Granger?
He's got to come off the bench.
I think they're going to try and move him.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, they're
Because
probably gonna have to
they
move
need
him.
to make space for Paul George when he comes up.
And
in that mystical summer that everybody's freaking out
Yeah.
about, Paul George is
He's
in
a
it.
part
And,
of it.
by the
Yeah.
way, you made a very good point too, which I think speaks a lot to their organization. As much as I love the Heat organization, they've done all this and managed to stay under the luxury tax
Yeah.
threshold.
Yeah. Because they were able to re-sign David West, which was huge.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Well, I mean,
they-
we'll see when their superstars are
Yeah.
when Hibbert and Paul George.
Yeah, because they're on the rookie
they'll have-
contracts,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, they'll have.
That's
that-
part of it.
I
They've
mean-
got the Marlin benefit where they're so young in the system, they're cheap.
Right.
Well, I mean, and they're going to start demanding more. Yes, I think they got scarier. It'll
A
be
lot
interesting.
scarier.
Well, but here's the deal. Ultimately, it's still on the Heat. You got to get the 1. You got to let Chicago and the Pacers get the 2 and the 3, and then you only have to deal with one of them.
And here's the other thing. The Pacers, for all that we're talking about them and for the trouble they gave us, they had the same record as the Nets that we've been making fun of all summer. So,
Oh,
they just present a matchup issue.
by
They might
the
not
way-
actually be better than any of the teams around them.
No, they'll be
Can I
better.
just run
They'll be
into
better.
to Mikhail Prokopov?
Oh, I
somewhere?
love that guy.
That guy just drops money. Like money just falls out of his pockets. Like
And he's perfectly fine with it.
yeah, exactly.
He's like,
I lost $5 million. I don't know where it is. Who cares? Let's move on.
Karolinko,
Like,
come to me.
I don't, dude. That's
Karolinko, come to me.
we don't even talk about that.
17 million?
If that's not a
Huh,
Russian
no
mafia move
problem.
in the NBA. I don't know what is. David Stern has to be going, I can't really pursue this because the Russian mafia is going to take me out. I really can't do that.
Even Jay-Z's like, dang.
No, he got out of there.
No, Jay-Z,
this
Jay-Z's
is
like,
too
I'm going on
dangerous.
tour. I'm going on tour.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to get into the Dolphins. We'll have Roudy come in after that. Ricky, Marlins, Come Mierda of the Week. I have great Come Mierdas of the Week. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Life, dance, stay free. We live. And amigos.
Welcome back to the Sports Table, everybody. This is, how do you pronounce this, Alan?
New Jabez.
Life,
New Jabez.
You say it like it's
New
Spanish.
keys.
free.
No keys. No keys.
No key.
Javis or Javis? Because
Jabez. Like say it like it's the only thing that this is different, and you know this already. I don't know why you're asking.
No, because he said say it like it's keys. Keys are Javis, not Javis.
I don't know what I said.
Throw something at him.
I would, but all I got is my notes. I want my notes.
We're back here in the Sports Table. We had a huge NBA moment last week, or not last week, last segment. And, so Detroit, it's pretty official. They'll shoot career lows. You know what? Detroit and New York and the Knicks will be fighting for the lowest shooting percentage in NBA history. Is that pretty much
I
like
think
a shirt thing?
I think Detroit will be top 5 in threes attempted and bottom 5 in threes made.
That's basically what's going to
Yeah.
happen. And Indiana's going to be a little close. They're getting a little tight right behind us at the number one.
I don't know.
They are.
It's weird.
Getting
It's
tight.
weird.
They're
It's
getting
always
tight. They're
weird
getting
with
tight.
Here's the thing.
They're better. Listen, they are better.
They are better.
They're better, but this is what everybody always misses year to year. Those guys have to duplicate the same years they did last year. We know the Heat can because they've done it. Can they? And by the way, I'm on record. I think here on this can Roy Hibbert be protected by
Where
the
else
NBA
are you on
again?
record? Where else are you on record?
Nowhere else.
Okay.
Just here. But a lot of things I say to myself, there's no record. I'm a little crazy like
Yeah,
that.
That's all right. But what were you saying that?
But I still believe during the playoffs, Roy Hibbert was protected by the NBA for whatever reason.
The law of verticality.
And so can that continue? Because he's not what they made him out to be throughout those playoffs. I'm sorry. He's good, but he's not. Like, if the game was called for real, he would have fouled out of a couple games.
Well, we talked NBA. Now we're on to the NFL. We got Roudy actually in studio with us. Roudy, this was like this has been the second time you sat in on the show, right? I mean, there was one time it was Valentine's Day. That's what it was.
That was a great
Last time it
conversation.
was Valentine's Day.
About how cheap I am.
Yeah, exactly. And how Valentine's Day isn't a real holiday,
It's
even
fake.
though it is a real
It's
holiday.
fake. No, I'm not Catholic. It's not a real holiday.
It's a real holiday.
It's a fake holiday.
Well,
It's a man-made holiday.
It's a fake holiday.
it's
Okay,
real.
no, it's not.
To me, it's not a holiday unless.
No, into the
Yeah.
mic, bro.
To me, it's not a holiday unless you have the day off from work.
It's a real holiday in my wallet, and that's all that matters. So that determines what's real and not real,
¿Y quién te manda?
basically. Roudy, tell us, you've been to how many practices? Just grab the mic in front of you for a second.
I want to say 4.
Sorry.
4 practices.
4
I'm
since
sorry.
It's been 2 weeks of practices.
2 weeks.
Give me, now don't be Dolphin guy.
Oh no, I'm not.
Give me the one.
Well, you can't be anti-Dolphin guy then.
You can't. I can be anti-Dolphin guy.
Not if he can't be Dolphin guy.
I don't want to hear. I don't because
I'm not a
I work
homer,
for the
though. I'm a
Finsiders.
realist.
I work for the
I'm a realist
Finsiders.
too, but he seems to think I'm this positive.
No, you're super
glow
positive.
sphere of-
He's Jesse Agler 2.0. This guy right here.
You know
This guy's
what?
Jesse Agler 2.0.
That's not the greatest thing to be called.
No,
I
no,
mean,
no,
but
he's
Jesse's
propaganda.
It's just
He's
because I try and
propaganda.
stem.
He's propaganda
I try
right
and
here.
stem the tide of negativity that flows from Sanchez's mouth. I get ragged on.
I mean,
truth.
but it's
Okay, let me ask you my question then.
go ahead.
While you're out there, why is everyone like knee jerking for? It seems from day to day, whatever they do in practice, I'll hear it the next day on the radio or on TV. Well, not TV. No one cares about the Dolphins.
Practice. We talk about practice.
Yeah, I know exactly. So,
You know?
so give me like a legitimate sense on what you see out there, because from day one we talked about it. Mike Wallace misses passes with Tannehill. It's not going to work, and then the defense looks outstanding, but they're going against the Dolphin offense, so of course you're going to look like that.
Yeah, and that's the crap I'm talking about.
So give me a real sense. You can be positive if you have to. You know, I don't want you to be called a liar.
No.
But
No. I mean, walking into practice. I mean, the first I went first day, you know, because it was big, you know, media hoopla. It
Was
just
it?
yeah.
Was there media hoopla really?
It was that media room was full
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 of
of-
Not
local
only that,
guys.
didn't they
Local
get,
full
like-
of local and national.
Didn't they
shows.
get, like-
You had USA Today there. You had
USA Today.
You had ESPN. You had a writer for ESPN, like no one on television. Because ESPN is doing their, you
That's
know,
who-
32,
No,
32,
James Walker,
whatever.
Yeah, so
James
everybody
Walker is
got
the guy.
that.
No, James Walker is the guy who follows the team.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah.
he's the AFC East blogger. He was there. I met him day one. But it was full of media, whether they were taking pictures or whether they were writers. You know, you had your own local guys, but the media was a lot of media there. And then they had 2,700 fans
Yeah, that's
day one.
a big deal.
I mean, it was okay because the sun wasn't scorching hot
Right.
that day. It was muggy, but it was still hot as
By
hell.
the way, Troy Stratford said today during the Finsiders, he said that he's peeling because he got sunburn. Black people get sunburn?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Really, Chris?
Hey, what? He asked a legitimate question. It is a legitimate question.
Yeah.
Yes. My son.
Does it hurt?
Why?
Yes, it does.
Since we're going down that road here,
Alan, why are you
it hurts
defending black
just as
people?
much.
Does
We're
it
talking
really?
to a black guy. Why
It
you gotta
hurts just
defend
as
us?
much.
Because now, look, I'll be honest with you. That kind of surprising to me too. I didn't really know.
Look
that.
at that.
I
Don't
mean,
jump on the question, Alan.
we have just as much
Don't jump on
skin
the
as
question.
you guys.
Yeah.
Just because it's
No,
darker
no,
doesn't
no.
mean
I understand that, but I mean, again, coming from biology, it's been a while. The whole melanonin in the skin and stuff like that. Like I know the people from like I'm gringo as gringo gets, white as white gets. The Latins suppose they're a little bit more sun friendly than we are. So I didn't know. I don't. You know.
What the hell's up with me then?
Yeah, but you realize sunburns, they're still burn. They hurt, right?
Well, no, I get that, but at what point?
No,
I mean,
but
it might take us a
be-
little
What's the
longer.
threshold?
might
Yeah,
just-
exactly.
like,
yeah,
I remember
that's-
back in high school when I got my sunburns, we were at the beach the whole week.
The white hick like me was like it was lobster red.
Yeah, but we were there the whole week at the beach. So, you know, by Thursday, we're like, man, we ain't coming back tomorrow. So, yeah.
Okay, so give us a view. Give us.
I mean, if you check out the blog, I kind of broke down. I have a blog on 940 Wins. I kind of broke down position by position. Everybody's really hype and happy about the acquisitions. Now, the acquisitions right now, all of them on offense don't look too great. I'm gonna tell you right now, the only person I can say is, you know, up to par on offense that I like is Claybo. And because at first with no pads on, he looked like a robot. I thought he was very, very stiff. But later on in the week when they put pads on, he went from robot to freaking transformer, kind of just yucking dudes all over.
I've heard he's been really good.
Like, I mean, he was. I mean, everybody's in love with Cameron Wake. He is what he is. He's probably, you know, one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. Yeah, Claybo gave him the old 1-2 in his chest, and Wake kind of stopped in his tracks. So I was just like, and like everybody in that media area was like, yo.
Yeah, what was going on, right?
Yeah, Claybo's the real deal.
I mean, but let's be fair. We've been here before where
we have.
The Dolphins have gotten shiny new toys, and then
they didn't do anything.
The product on the field has been.
But look here. It's this. And I've come to this conclusion. And I hate people who are like this, but this is. I think this has become the fact of today's NFL. If your quarterback ain't got it, it don't matter. It's that simple. It all starts with Tannehill.
You know,
how good could Tannehill be
That
this year?
and
I'll
that's
tell
the
you.
reason.
I'll tell you what. I was with you 100%. I'm with you 80% now. There was one coach that went to one team with the exact same quarterback, exact same team, and they made it deep into the playoffs, and that was San Francisco. San Francisco had Alex Smith, the same overall team. They signed,
but Alex Smith
Jim
played
Harbaugh
better. He put, but see,
Well,
the
yeah,
point is,
but-
but it's no, yeah, but nothing. The quarterback, because here's look, and I used to be the total opposite. I used to hate that. Football is one of the ultimate team sports to me. You have 11 guys on each side. Each guy has an assignment, so on and so forth. But the truth of the matter is, if your quarterback can't be effective, you're screwed. And you know how we know this? Chad Pennington. They went 11-5. Their turnover margin was one of the best ever in the history of the game in terms of whatever statistic that was that they used to throw out. They had one of the fewest turnover seasons in the history of the league. They went 11-5. They haven't even been close since.
So what do you say about Mark Sanchez? Mark Sanchez was terrible from the beginning. They made it to 2 AFC championships.
Yeah, but he had a team that was good enough to
Well,
carry him
but
there.
no, but wait,
but they
but
carried
look,
him so that
if
he
it's-
could be in a position to perform
Yeah,
well
if it's
when it
the
mattered.
quarterback.
But listen, look, we're talking about consistency because one of the things you say is the Dolphins have been here several times, and again, you know how I am about. I'm a huge Dolphin fan.
I know.
And
I smell it on you.
Okay, negative Nelly. Anyways, and I'm not. I really am generally not like that, but it appears to. That's the way the NFL has gone. How can you explain? And I hate them. I hate Tom Brady. I hate Bill Belichick. But how do you explain year in and year out they're in contention? There's only two things that haven't changed on that team. It's Brady and it's Belichick. And look, Belichick became great when Brady was there. So again,
this season will be the greatest test. If Brady's able to make it to the playoffs,
look,
this will be the greatest test. 'cause
As
if
much
you
as
still
I
have
want to
Brady.
buy into the hype, because I am one of those fans, they're going 11-5, 12-4.
You think so?
Yes. Okay. Unless the wheels fall off the bus and this guy takes a step back as a quarterback, yes, they will. Because again, we're in a passing league, so on and so forth. The acquisitions, Dustin Keller, Mike Wallace. See, to me, Mike Wallace isn't as big, in my opinion, wasn't as big of a deal as Dustin Keller, the Gibson. They're trying to move. Again, this is what I recognize. They're trying to move to where New England is. A positionless, the defense has no idea what formation, who's going out, who's staying in type of. That's why all the receivers are similar. All receivers can play all the positions. And now you have Keller, and they're looking
that's what they're teaching them. That's what they're teaching
and
them.
you're looking at the new kid, the new tight end,
Deion Sims.
Deion Sims, and then also Charles Clay finally looks like he's taking another step.
Oh,
they want to be able to. I mean, how many times did you see Aaron Hernandez line up in the backfield as a fullback
exactly
and go out?
I'm
going
to
to
tell you right now, you see a lot of that happening. You see Charles Clay, he'll do the motioning into the backfield where he looks at like a fullback, where you already have Tannehill and Miller or whoever's back there. You have a lot of your wide receivers coming in tight, and your tight ends on the outside, and then they'll do a formation shift, after they see what the defense is doing, and they'll come back, and now you have like a power eye. You go from a shotgun 4 wide to a power eye,
and that's
with just personnel, with the same personnel.
Yes, and I think that's what they're trying to move. That's what, if you watch the Patriots with any regular consistency, and you have to because NBC rams them down your throat.
I mean, well, I play as them in Madden, so I think I know a little bit more.
That's
than
exactly
you do.
what they do.
Understood.
They don't sub, and they just go full.
They don't sub. They only
speed.
sub if you're tired, and if that's the case,
Well,
you're
I
probably
mean-
going to get chewed out.
And now,
anyway.
with that said about the quarterback, I'll offer you this: if Jonathan Martin can't play left tackle, our season is done.
Yeah,
it's that simple.
This is
as sad as it is, because he still has to have time to throw and so on and so forth. If Mike Wallace turns into be a $60 million bust, you might be able to survive that, but you still spend a lot of money on a position that's not contributing for you.
Well, my point was the Dolphins have been in this moment in time.
Yeah.
If I feel like in the last few off seasons where they get the shiny toy and then the toy hasn't worked out. There's really only been one guy. I'm trying to think. Maybe Reggie Bush, like the most successful free agent that the Dolphins have signed in recent history. I can't think of anybody else, really.
Ricky?
I mean, Ricky was already, we traded for him and then we
Incognito
re-signed him.
went to the Pro Bowl last year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
I mean,
straight
you're going to
contract.
talk free agents and who's a bust and who's not.
Richie
I mean,
Incognito.
again, you're going to talk who's a bust and who's not.
I hit his man boob. Okay, I know all about Richie Incognito.
Hey,
So,
man.
but tell me,
Okay.
Rudy. Tell me, Rudy. Like, if we'll just go off his case, Tannehill.
Tannehill looks like he knows this offense back and forth.
Really?
He looks way more comfortable than he did last year. Last year, everybody's like, "Oh, he's not a deer in headlights," but he's fresh. But
Right.
this year, he came in and he's a second year guy, and they listen to him. He doesn't talk much in that huddle, though. I mean, when when they let us on the sidelines, you don't hear him too much, but when you do hear him. And then, you know what? I'm not going to make a comparison to, top tier QBs, but he'll stand up and he'll be like, okay, and he'll make changes at the line, like the other ones. I don't want to name.
Well, I've heard they've given him a lot more freedom. That's
yes,
some of those things they've said.
he changes plays at the line all the time.
You think
he turns around? I've seen him literally turn around and tell whatever running back, this is your assignment, because I think that's another issue that we're gonna have with is running backs picking up blitzes. They said Lamar Miller, he's gotten better. I've seen him completely whiff on several blitzes. Now that could be the fact that our linebackers are 10 times faster than they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
let me ask you this question, because I've seen a lot of debate in the media, because I follow a lot of the media members on Twitter, and you're out at practice. Like, I haven't been at practice. Are they faster? Can you see a noticeable
significantly faster?
But on one side of the ball.
No, both sides. The whole.
But no, I'm just asking
faster.
linebacker Carlos Dansby,
Oh,
Kevin
my
Burnett
goodness.
compared to
Oh my
Ellersby.
goodness!
So
It's like,
but wait a second.
He did a
Alan-
Dansby.
Yeah,
He did a Dansby.
Explain
Carlos
what
went on
Carlos
a rant.
Dansby is.
Carlos
yeah.
went on a rant because he had an issue with Dansby because they share a similar name. So he starts talking about he does a Dansby. Like, what's the Dansby? A Dansby is when you go to tackle someone in the hole, but you're too slow. So you run by him, and then you tackle him 16 yards after the line of scrimmage, take him to the ground, beat your chest because you're getting your 100 tackles this season,
Right.
and think you're the best linebacker in the world, despite the fact that people just run by you. That was one of the opening shows, just Carlos unleashing on him.
Yeah, so Ellerby's not going to be pulling a Dansby.
No,
Ellerby's going to get into the hole.
The one thing see, because the one thing
that our front seven can be possibly one of the most dominant front sevens in the NFL.
Yeah, a lot of people are talking.
I'm not yanking their chain
A little bit.
between.
I'm just kidding.
Between
but
Starks and Soliai, those two monsters tend to freaking push piles.
And they've said Jared Odrick has been a man beast too.
Oh, yes,
because they moved him inside a lot.
They moved him inside. He's your I don't know if you remember Chris Canty in the Jets, because he can play outside, inside, line up at outside linebacker. He can do all of that, and
if the new kid's as athletic as they say,
he's fast.
They say he's a tremendous.
I haven't seen him do too much athletic stuff, but he is fast.
And Olivier Vernon, he's not lying. The front seven with all the rotating pieces.
Yeah, that front seven can look to be possibly pretty scary.
That wasn't really a weakness for the Dolphins last year.
Yeah, it was their strength,
Right.
and that's what a lot of people are saying. That was their strength, and all they did was make a strength stronger.
Okay,
with that D line and that front seven.
So the offense, though, specifically, because our defense is gonna be pretty good, especially in the shitty AFC. Oh, what is it? East? Where are we?
Yeah, AFC. Yeah.
You didn't realize we're in the East, bro.
No, I was putting a Tannehill. I don't know what the division.
They're in a crappy division. You know they have the hardest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah, because everyone outside of our division is difficult.
Yeah.
But they have, again, in the NFL, the great parity league, you're supposed to be matched up according to your record, but somehow every year we're in like the top 3 in schedule.
Because we always come in second.
Second or third. I know one of the deals, like with New England. New England doesn't have as tough a schedule because they play the Bills, the Jets. They don't play themselves. That's part of our schedule is playing the Patriots twice. I understand that, but that's crazy. Our schedule and the first 5 games are murder.
No, I say the first game should be easy.
You should beat the Browns, but you're on the road, and you got to go face and see. I'm hoping that Andrew Luck has this little sophomore slump and stuff, and we can steal one on the road there too. But then you're coming home to play
that game was
3
awesome
Super Bowl title contenders.
But wait a second. Going on now to this Sunday, though. I mean, because we're still in training camp. We still haven't done any of the preseason games yet. I want to look at the regular season. This Sunday, they're playing the Cowboys. Okay. What are you gonna see? What have you seen?
I'm pretty sure now that they're inputting a game plan.
Yeah.
It looks like they're probably just going to first series you're gonna see your starters or a majority of your starters, and then you're really gonna see everybody else. And I think they're probably just gonna look at what Dallas does well. Because, preseason, the coaches talk to each other, hey, don't run this, don't run that. So I'm pretty sure they want to get a look at the receiving core because they just signed a receiver because Armand Benz went down. So they're probably just going to look at that. They're trying to, and then they want to look at blitz protection with your running backs. I mean, Daniel Thomas does an okay job, but Daniel Thomas, we
traded for that guy.
He needs to spark. We're all waiting for him to do something.
He did until he got his first concussion. He's never been the same since. I mean, if you remember the first couple of games, everybody was calling for him over Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
So and then he got that concussion. Yeah, that was it. He's never
the
been
concussion
the same.
and the fumble.
He's never been the same since that play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he needs to spark. We're sitting here twiddling our thumbs waiting for him. And in the meantime, that's what Miller did. Miller compared to last year is bigger. I want to say faster, and he looks like he can push it. He can, stays off a couple of tackles. And again, the issue is him pass blocking. And if he can get that up to par, he can be a real beast.
Well, I got 3 questions. I mean, because again, training camp, whatever. I'm just waiting for the regular season in fantasy football, basically.
Yeah.
Who's the player out there that's pretty important that just looks terrible? Like the fat guy, whatever, the slow guy. Like the guy that the Dolphins have to play because they're paying him or whatever, but that he just looks like garbage.
I want to say now.
Because I'm thinking like Chris Clemens. Come on now.
Oh, no.
Ugh.
No. Okay. Those guys, that secondary.
Those two safeties are pretty good.
That secondary.
I want Chris Clemens to be fat.
That secondary. And that's another place where they're loaded. They're loaded at because that secondary, it's young, but it's a little bit more wiser. Brent Grimes changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
That boy changed, and he looks like a regular old dude. If you see him in public, you're gonna be like, "Who's that?"
He's an athletic freak. Is what
but I don't want to talk positive. Give me the fat guy. Give me the slow guy. Give me the one that's just terrible.
The dude that doesn't look that great. I want to say is Kowamisi.
Yeah,
I knew that word was coming.
Yeah, that Kowamisi. Yeah. He's supposed to be stepping up, but I feel like the influx of new talent around him
surpassing him.
Well, he's running that 100 yards and he gets to like 60. He gets to like the 60-meter mark, and then like, oh shit,
there's no one here.
Everybody just start passing.
I can foresee a package again with this whole Kowamisi thing. Once the rookie settles in, gets comfortable, because one of the things they say about rookies is you can't give them too much too soon. Where you have Deion Jordan, Olivier Vernon, and Cameron Wake all in the game at the same time, and Kowamisi's not in the game.
Yeah,
and one of them is filling that linebacker role, and the other two are rushing the passer. Because they say Olivier Vernon can cover downfield as well as anybody on the team.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
And I feel like him being from down here, him playing down here, he's a lot more acclimated to the heat because it seems like everybody's dying down here. Everybody.
It's hot, bro.
They're sucking.
It's hot out there.
I understand that, but they're all sucking. Every day after practice that I've been to, they ask Mike Wallace a question. It's like, okay, how was practice today? It was hot. Yeah, like 3 days in a row. 3 days in a row, he's like, it was hot.
Now you know why he didn't do the scrimmage, coach. It's just a little too hot out there. I don't want to play today.
But it was like at 7:30 at night.
Yeah, but I don't think he's ever seen heat like this at 7:30.
It's like, coach, it's hot. Yeah, he didn't realize that at 7:30 it was still going to be 80 degrees.
Right. He's used to Pittsburgh where it gets a little frosty.
Yeah, but he's like, it's hot. That first day, it was muggy. and I mean, it felt like you were in freaking someone's armpit. It was that sweaty and like it was.
It's a great picture, isn't it?
Yes,
Your head
Sweaty
sticking
armpit.
out of someone's armpit.
it was pretty bad.
Well, let me ask you this then. Seems like there's a lot of fans going to these practices. The practice today was sold out.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
because it's a night game.
training camp second week.
It's a night game.
Well, where else
Yeah,
are they gonna go?
Everybody's off work.
You don't go.
No, but,
Well,
think about us.
I mean, during the week, it's not as bad because people are at work. But that first day was a Sunday, on the weekend.
Yeah, but I heard
The scrimmage
Yeah.
was filled.
yeah,
It's a Monday night.
more people than
22,000 people.
More
more people than the Marlin
scrimmage.
game that was
The
going on.
scrimmage. Like, it's a scrimmage.
yeah,
But
look,
think about a sports community. Where are they gonna go?
You
Right
don't-
now, you're not going to baseball game.
Wait.
And you're excited for
Time out,
football.
time out,
Have
time
to
out. You said
go.
sports community?
Yeah, we have a small one.
Come on.
No, but wait.
All
a minute, wait a minute.
40,000 people in the city.
Let me first address.
I
I was
45 fans.
excited about those numbers. Did you hear the numbers that attend Patriots training camp?
No.
You're talking tens of thousands a day.
People are so crazy. Jason, you wanted to go. Why? Why? Why?
I wanted to go because my family always goes to the scrimmage because it's kind of like a family reunion sort of thing, but also because I was excited for the offseason acquisitions. I thought that I wanted to see some of them get in there. I wanted to see how much faster they were, like Roudy was saying. I wanted to see something out of them.
I'm so jaded. I'm so
You
jaded.
are, but
You
I'm
are,
so
you are.
jaded.
But
And I
you-
understand
but
where
wait,
you're coming
But that's
from.
the thing.
Yeah.
I think you've given at least me, and I think you would give a great perspective to a lot of people on what's happened in this town with the Dolphins.
No, I started 8-8 and go backwards. That's
No,
how
but
this. That's how
he
they've
pointed
made
that,
me. Yeah.
He pointed that out to me one time, and I never thought about it from that perspective. He said, Stemmer, I've never seen these glory days, the winning Dolphins that doesn't exist in my world. And so how can I get excited about this team? And I understand that now.
Yeah.
I'm a Dolphin fan. At least I got the tail end of Marino's career. In 84, I was 11 years old, but I remember I have recollection of being excited. I grew up, again, with where you had one of the best players playing, kind of like, again, the Heat with LeBron now. And so I get that perspective. I just wish you wouldn't be so negative all the time.
My earliest memory, when you're a child and you're coming out of the womb, my first memory is Dave Wanstead.
The stash.
The Juan stash.
I got the stash right in front of me. Like I was in third grade when the press conference happened where Jimmy Johnson gave it to Dave Wanstead. That was my first memory of a Dolphin.
Well,
I was a little bit before you because I had started playing ball when I was little, so I was already into watching and playing. And my first,
no, bro, you've gone through a lot.
my first
through a lot.
my first thing had to be early when Sam Madison and Patrick Surtain, the 2 years when they got drafted, because I was already a big Deion fan. I came, I was already, I wore 21, I had the freaking long sleeves.
Right.
I tried to be there. And then for them to come and pick, two dudes on my team and they were, somewhat good. Sam Madison sucked his first year. I'd say it.
But we had just burned Buckley.
Yeah.
And
but no, Buckley was still on the team.
we had Terrell Buckley and just burned Brown, JB
Yeah.
Brown, just burned Brown. That guy was horrible.
Yeah. I agree. But they came in and they
No,
started
I remember.
playing.
I
they started
remember
playing
because I
girls.
remember Pat Surtain played the nickel.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my dad, "Hey, Dad, that's a guy that needs to be. What's the matter with these?"
Yeah.
I remember that.
And then they whole switched it. They put Sam Madison, Pat Surtain on the outside with Terrell Buckley in the middle, and you had
that
Rock
was
Marion.
one of Jimmy Johnson's last greatest drafts.
Yeah, and then you had
When you talk about Jimmy Johnson and Buckley, that's like when we go through a museum and you said, "Oh, this was Magellan. He discovered whatever."
No, you're right.
It's history.
Yeah,
No,
it's
you're
like
absolutely-
19.
Look,
I have no
This is
connection
all-
to
you
them
all
at all.
90s,
look.
though.
Think about what you've gone through. I thought about
Yeah, I
this
feel
the other
sorry
day.
for you.
You went through Wanstead, and Wanstead became
was my
a
first.
joke.
Oh, it
A
was so
joke
boring.
by the end of the.
So
by
boring.
just a joke. And so then you move from Wanstead to we go and get the first savior, Nick Saban.
Right.
Woo!
And
Don't
Nick,
even say
Nick
his
Diablo.
name.
Nick Saban basically craps all over South Florida and everything because we thought. And look,
Culpepper.
I was one of the ones.
Culpepper.
Dude,
That's exactly what we got.
well, that's the one thing with Saban, though, and the one thing I got to hand to him is on that decision, you can't blame what he did, but that's neither here nor there. Then you go from Saban to maybe the worst coach in NFL history.
Yes. Coco.
Cam Cameron.
Coco Cameron.
Let's turn
That's
that
what defense.
Oh my
Fail
God.
forward fast.
And
We want to fail forward fast.
Forward fast.
fast,
And
yeah.
by the way, the only reason we won a game is because Brian Billick and all his intelligence had a brain fart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you went.
I was there for that game.
Oh, were you really?
I was there for that Baltimore game.
I couldn't believe that.
Greg Camarillo caught a slant and went. Dude, you don't understand how freaking crazy I went.
Oh,
I was like, we won't be the worst team. Oh man,
Wayne Huizinga's crying
That's
in
what I was
the
gonna say. He
box.
fell to his knees and he's praying to God.
That was the
John-
last game
no,
that I ever
Jim-
went to
Jim
at
Mandich-
the stadium. That was the last
Jim
game that I went
Mandich.
to.
Did you hear Jim Mandich or Joe Rose, one of the two on the radio? Like he was elate. I love Greg Cameron. I mean, it was crazy.
I love you, Greg. Oh man.
And then you go to the second savior, who by the time he becomes savior is outdated, and Bill Parcells.
Well, he left town. He didn't even stay.
But he
3 yards and a cloud of dust.
He brought a
Big lineman.
system. He brought a system that was on its way out. That's really why we're in the position we're in. Like if Bill Parcells had stepped in and been with modern current times, we would be in a much better place. He would have taken Matt Ryan. He would have. I mean, he would have.
Ryan.
He would have done things differently.
He just got signed the mega deal.
oh
Oh,
god.
and it hurts my
Wait.
stomach.
He did, but look, that could bite Atlanta, man.
Why?
We'll see. We'll see if he can
I
get
mean,
over the hump.
I want to see. They picked up Steven Jackson. I want to see what they do with him because that offense is predicated to throwing. You're getting Tony Gonzalez back. You have Julio and
No. Look,
Roddy
they're
White.
up,
Roddy
but
White.
again,
They're gonna chuck the ball.
He seems to be one of those guys who can't get over the hump. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll Joe Flacco this year.
I think
Maybe
that's why
he
they
will.
brought in Steven Jackson though.
Maybe
because
he'll
they said
Joe Flacco this year. I don't know.
they said Michael Turner, you too fat. he was
Get your big legs
he was
out of
pushing at like 270, 280. And they're like, bye.
And Atlanta, correct me if I'm wrong, they're NFC, right?
NFC.
Dude, the NFC is loaded.
Yeah, they might be like
They're
the 6th or 7th
loaded.
team in there.
You're not on.
They're
loaded.
And all you have to do is win your division, and they're fine. But they have the resurging Saints, and you don't count out Tampa Bay now.
No,
And then you really don't sleep on Carolina. So, hence the reason why the Dolphins have the hardest schedule.
Well, no, I mean, I get like other teams are good. I want to stick to the Dolphins' misery. You know, I just that's where I relish. I relish in Chad Henne against Detroit when they're up 2 touchdowns and all he has
check
to do
down Chad, baby.
is all he's got to do is run the ball
Captain check down.
and just run out the clock, and he throws 2 picks. One of them goes for a pick 6, and Detroit ends up winning the game. Like that's
how about the
that's
the better
that
one
I
was a
know.
Cleveland game. The Cleveland game, they were in field goal range, and he threw. No, they went to overtime, and he threw a pick and put them in field goal range.
Yeah. We started Tim Tebow's career.
Yep.
We started Tebow Mania.
We did.
They scored 15 points and we lost.
And dude, never look on. Suck for luck was a real thing. That guy's legit, and we screwed that up too. It's just so funny.
you go out, you start 0-7, and you still don't end up in the top 10. That's the Dolphins.
Yep.
No, you're right. You're
That's what I've
absolutely
known.
correct. That's like I'll never forget with when Saban comes in, they get the number 2 pick, and that draft was worthless. Your number 2 pick was Ronnie Brown.
Who was the best player in that top 10? Because I don't
No, there
remember
wasn't.
anybody.
No, there
Oh,
wasn't.
man,
There
Braylon
wasn't.
Edwards? Not
Blech.
even. Yeah, exactly.
No, but that's what I'm saying. There
They
wasn't.
just re-signed him too.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
desperate.
no. Jets.
They're desperate.
You talk about the one circus. That could be a 3-ring circus up there, by the way.
I'm the
You know what?
Pillsbury
That's the only
Doughboy.
thing that's
I'm the
keeping me
Pillsbury
afloat.
Doughboy.
If the Dolphins don't have a good season, I can just look at the Jets and laugh. That's stupid. I mean,
It's
Gino
funny.
is you know he's a South Florida boy. You know, I'll root for my South
I don't
Florida boys.
care.
But you went to the
It
wrong
ain't gonna-
team,
I hate to
homeboy.
tell you
don't
this. It
care.
ain't gonna be Gino though. They're gonna let Sanchez.
Oh
do it
yeah,
again.
I
Can
know
we call
that.
him Mark? Is that all right with you guys? Can we stick with Mark?
What's wrong?
Marky Mark.
What's wrong, Sanchez?
Yeah,
There a
exactly.
problem?
Yeah, I don't,
Mark,
know.
Tony, you
I don't like that. You
Mr.
say
Butt
Sanchez
Fumble
and I look
himself?
and I'm like, oh,
I mean,
I know exactly who
The
you're talking about.
Sanchez, baby, the Sanchez.
Man. It's
I'll
terrible.
never forget the
Suck
game.
Chez.
He ate the hot dog on the sideline. I hated that guy instantly right there. It didn't matter jet or no jet.
I was like, wait, you don't eat a pre-game meal? Like,
Doesn't matter, bro.
That's
That's,
what I'm saying.
arrogance. Like you're nobody. You're eating a hot dog on a sideline.
it's like I'm hungry.
Let me ask you.
If Tom Brady's eating a hot dog, winking at the girl in the first row, yeah, it's Tom Brady. But that's your Mark Sanchez. Come on.
Let me ask you one more question, Rudy, before we go to break and talk to Ricky next segment. A lot of media. You talked about a lot of media guys are there. You've got to meet one of them. Who's a douche? Like,
who's the biggest media douche?
Get who thinks they're big time? Because I'll give you a story. When I went to some of the Heat games, Josh Freeman from 790, that guy would mess with me all the time. So Frito's my media douche. I don't know who's out there for the Dolphins.
I definitely want to say Bo Camper.
Really?
I can't stand it. Okay, here's the thing with Bo Camper.
He seems to be one of those nice guys, really.
God, no. You picked the worst guy. He has so much influence. He has so much influence on the Dolphins.
That's the freaking problem. He thinks he's the ish. No, you're just bigger than everybody else, and your voice is louder than anybody.
He's a big man.
He lost a lot of weight. I can say that. But
no, when I say big, he's put together, bro.
He's huge. That's the thing, though. Him and Joe Rose have to be the biggest media dudes, and they're so arrogant. They won't let anyone ask questions. They bully you.
I've noticed that at a
not
press
saying anything.
I've noticed that at a press conference where it's just Bo Camper.
And he gets first priority because it's CBS,
and we understand that. Yeah, but dude, let other people answer. Ask different questions, and you're asking the same question like 8 times. Coach Philbin already knows your name. Chill out. You know what I like that about Philbin though. He knows everybody's name, and if he doesn't, he goes out of his way to figure out who you are. Like when it comes to media, he goes out of his way to figure out who you are, what's your name, who you work for, and when you ask him questions, he responds. All right, Rudy. Yeah. I feel like I'm like, damn. Nice. Okay, you're a nice dude.
When he's gone in 3 years, let's hope he remembers him too.
Nah, I'm pretty sure. But definitely Bo Camper.
That's really nice.
Everybody else, Bo Camper and Joe Rose. Yeah,
so perfect.
Definitely Bo Camper.
This is just where I throw in the towel with this guy. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he's. I know.
It is. I'm glad he's a nice guy.
Between Bo Camper, Joe Rose.
By the way, that cholesterol reading between the both of them have to be ridiculous.
Oh, that head size
between the both of them. They say Joe Rose's head is as big as you'll ever see.
Oh man, that dude, that head is huge.
Is there anybody that's taking you under their wing? Because like I said, I follow a lot of these guys. It's just interesting to hear some of these stories.
I mean, Troy Stratford, since we worked with him, Omar Kelly.
Omar
Kelly's mad cool.
And I expected you could tell he knows his crap and he could be really arrogant with it, but at the same time he seems to be one that's willing to share.
Yeah,
like hey, this is how you do this, or hey, he doesn't seem to be like one of those guys.
What I tend to do, I tend to gravitate around former players, listen to what they say.
Yeah, because they have experience.
Yeah, I mean,
so like Bo Camper.
No. I don't even go near him.
And Joe
I try to stay near the black
first touchdown pass of Dan Marino's career, baby.
I try to stay near the black ones because they're kind of cooler. The other guys.
When he says former players, he means black people. That's exactly what that means.
No, I mean
that's exactly what that
means.
Dude,
you got to get him into the conversation about Cooper.
Oh,
Ask him about Cooper.
Cooper seems a dick.
No, I don't mean. I don't mean that.
I haven't met him.
That white guy about. The guy
Riley Cooper?
Riley Cooper.
Yeah.
Riley Cooper said the N-word.
Oh, yeah.
And nobody jacked him up?
What do you mean nobody jacked him up?
I didn't get the whole story.
He was fighting. He was fighting with someone.
he was at a concert, and evidently they got this on video that, he went off using that word and everything. And so the Eagles have fined him. But, if you're in the league, let me ask you this. If you're in the league, how do you handle that? Like, if you're on his team, how do you handle that?
You jack him up.
So he's getting the visit. You're in training camp. You're somehow getting a key to his room, and you guys are beating the crap out of him.
No, that's too far. You whip his ass in the locker room.
In the locker room right there?
I mean, you have a talk with him. He doesn't apologize.
Okay, but let me ask you this question.
Like razor blades in the
apple? If Tom Brady does it, what do you do?
You jack him up. No, you don't. I don't care who you are.
Look, and if that happens,
you just don't hit the arm. Avoid the arm.
You'll see ESPN. You'll see ESPN. Roudy cut from the Patriots.
I don't give a damn.
No, I the reason why I ask is because on the way in, I was listening to a couple guys were talking about it, and they were talking about just that, the whole star status. because they figured that Cooper was a mediocre enough player where they just cut him. But they didn't. They fined him. At least that's what's happened so far.
They needed him.
I just can't.
They ain't got no wideouts.
But that's the thing. I can't imagine, like, being in that locker room. If you said that, I mean, I guess people know you. Like, maybe they understand, heat of the moment, whatever. I mean, I don't know because I don't deal with.
If you're in the heat of the moment, then you might get a pass. But like,
no,
go out and
but I'm not.
Say it, like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying give them a pass, but at least some people with experience with them. I just can't imagine because that's all charged now. Like it's everything that's gone on recently. I just can't believe the guy said it.
You know what? You know what it says though. He went to Florida.
Fair.
He went to Florida.
Fair.
He was Tim Tebow's freaking roommate.
Yeah.
How the mighty have fallen. I can't wait to that
Riley
first
Cooper
game.
was mighty?
Dude.
No. I'm just saying that
yeah,
whole Gator
Miami,
squad.
dude.
Everybody been jerking off Tim Tebow like he's the freaking son of man. Dude, he had probably one of the top 4 college teams in NCAA history.
He's one of the best players to play college football ever.
What?
He had an awesome
But
squad.
who's around him?
Wait.
College football ever.
No, wait. You would say the same thing about freaking Ken Dorsey.
No, I wouldn't.
The
Ken Dorsey-
man-
Ken
No,
Dorsey
no,
won.
no,
wait.
Yeah,
There's
you
a
would
difference
because that
between-
dude didn't ever
Ken
lost.
He
There's
never
a-
lost.
Did he
He
win a
lost like
Heisman?
2
I'm sorry.
games?
Did he win a Heisman? I'm sorry.
There's a different. But wait a minute. You
Did he
can't
win a
go
Heisman
there.
then?
But you
The
can't
Heisman's
go
a
there.
media
Why not?
award.
Really?
Heisman is a media
Do you know how
award.
many
Of
Heisman?
course it's a media award.
But
Yeah,
do you know
but
how
they're
many
the best
Heisman-
players in
but
college
do you know-
football.
No.
Yeah, but who chooses that? A
But
bunch
do
of
you know-
old white
wait,
people.
None
No,
of
no.
that.
Former
Was he
players.
ever
And former players, right,
nominated?
former
Was he ever nominated?
Do you know how many
Dorsey?
Heisman?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
2 years.
Do you know how many Heisman Trophy winners went on to never have an NFL career?
Right.
I don't want to hear crap
But
about.
what does that mean? So what if just because you're good?
Oh, you're right. And Manti Te'o finished second this year to Johnny Manziel. We know what Johnny Manziel is all about now. I don't want to hear crap about the Heisman. When it comes to Dorsey, and look, I'm all for it. That guy never made it in the NFL. You can't. He's in the top 10 of college quarterbacks of all time because of what he did.
Right, but
Man
so
lost
is Tim
2
Tebow.
games.
So is Tim Tebow's
No, I'll
right.
give you. No,
I
no,
think,
I'll
I think
give
Tim
you.
Tebow's
No,
the
no,
best. ever.
Tebow might be the best college quarterback because of what he accomplished on a college
Absolutely.
football
And
field.
he had a- but he had a
Absolutely.
Right. That's
But
what I'm saying. That's
for you
all
to
I'm
an
saying.
awesome
you
team, though.
dismiss Ken Dorsey like as if
No, I didn't dismiss him. I didn't dismiss him.
They're in
But
the
he's not
conversation.
Tim
No, but
Tebow.
they're in the conversations for the same reason.
And by the way, he's
because of their team.
He's
Yeah.
a pass interference. He's a pass.
So you're gonna say that
interference.
about Liner from USC?
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Matt?
Did you see
Well,
the
you can
team
talk about
around them?
Barkley
Dude,
too.
No,
USC,
Barkley, no, but not
dude,
Barkley.
from Carson Palmer to now, they
And
haven't
that-
had a
but
good
here's-
quarterback.
But not only that,
Barkley
here's-
might be
but
their
here's-
best QB in
here's
the past
another
20
question.
years.
And look, I don't want to take anything away from Tebow. And last year,
In
Johnny
college.
and Johnny Manziel. No, but who were they competing against for Heisman's is the other question. Think about the year that Reggie Bush won it. He beat out Vince Young. Think
Vince
about
Young is
that.
one of the best quarterbacks ever in
But
college.
listen to what I'm saying.
Right.
Who did Tim Tebow beat? And I'm not taking it. I do believe if
I don't
he's not
know.
the best college quarterback ever, he is one of them. Or football player, however you want to
Right.
quantify that. But the Heisman Trophy to me has become it's just another thing. I don't think it holds as much prestige as it used to because of the politic. Like teams politic for that. Like
Yeah.
to me, that's ridiculous.
that whole RG3 thing.
and
had a-
stuff like that.
There was a
Billboard.
famous one that Oregon was putting out posters for one of their
For
guys in
Anthony
different cities.
Wasn't that Lamont Green? I think the running back was Lamont Green.
LeGarrette,
LeGarrette Blunt. I don't
LeGarrette
think it was
Blunt.
And
him,
then
but
he
it was
punched
somebody. It was
somebody.
somebody.
and then he knocked out the Boise State kid.
Yeah, I mean, I just again, I think that the Heisman Trophy. I'm not sure that qualifies you in the conversation.
That was a good hit.
Either way, winning it or losing it or not winning it, simply because the number of Charlie Ward. That's a guy I was trying to think of. Charlie Ward. I don't think he ever deserved. He won it, but I don't think he deserved it when he
Charlie
when he got
Ward.
it. Yeah.
Charlie Ward. You have to hear him say it. You have to hear Coach Biden say Charlie Ward in order for it to be extra funny. Charlie Ward.
Wow.
I went to Charlie Ward's house.
And look, when Gino I'm a big UM guy, you know that. When Gino Treadle won it, he didn't deserve crap. That was all about the team, the run they were on. That was all politics, all got cut up in the momentum. And so the Heisman to me is whatever. It's blasé. I don't think that quantifies anything.
Well, the Dolphins play this Sunday against the Cowboys. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, no one gets injured. Mike Wallace.
That's the big thing. Can you get out of this game without injuries? That's a big thing.
I
You'll
doubt
hear
it.
me laughing.
I doubt it, but I'm
Laughing
pretty
'cause
sure
I
you're going to
can't
see a
cry.
lot of
No.
third, fourth, fifth
Pruitt,
string
you're
guys.
gonna see a lot of Pruitt. The new
Lots
kid
of
they
McNutt.
brought in, McNutt.
A lot of
Bumpus.
nothing. Who cares? A lot. No one cares.
No, I'm just pretty
I
sure.
just want to hear on the telecast McNutt
So you're
and
telling
Bumpus.
me you won't watch it just to
great.
get my football fix?
I'm
I gotta
pretty-
watch
Well, I mean,
it just
I'm
for
gonna
my
be out of
football
town.
fix.
By the way, I only watch it just so I can laugh at Bob Griese. That's the only reason why I ever watch
Thanks,
any
Bob.
of the scenes. Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
Well,
I love Bob.
Rudy, appreciate you sitting in with us and teaching us everything about the Dolphins. Look for him on the 940 podcast, War Room, right?
Yeah.
Man, talk about it. The War Room.
I recently started a blog doing whatever comes to mind. It's a couple blogs up. I've done one about Anderson Silva pre and post fight. Yeah, I don't even want to get into that.
Is it a blog or a rant?
It's a blog. It's an actual
Well,
blog.
Luby has
Luby
a
has
rant.
Luby. It's called a Lube Tube. Luby has these 2-3 minute rants,
Right.
and those are hilarious because working with him, and then it's hilarious because he's actually like recording it for the website, and then he's recording the video, and he's also like, so he'll do all this crap, and like, what is he doing? And then he starts talking,
Yeah.
and he goes
His
crazy,
little-
and he's moving his arms like this.
Which, by the way, Lube Tube's a porn site.
Yeah.
That's
It
what
is.
it's called, though.
I
That's
know,
what
I
his
know.
rant is
I
called.
told
Lube
him.
Tube.
I told him when he said it. I'm like, it's a porn site.
No.
You're watching.
Not
I was
that
just gonna
not
say,
that I know. It's
you
what I
seem to be an
someone
expert
told
on
me.
it.
Someone
They're watching
told
the
me.
Lube Tube.
Dude, that has
But-
to be common sense. That
yeah,
wasn't
but-
gonna work. No, we put his most recent one on the Facebook page. The first thing I did was not call it the Lube Tube.
Yeah,
I did not want that
that's
on
true.
there.
Well,
Yeah, but I mean, I've been doing a couple. I'm soon to be getting my own page, but I'm just doing that to get my voice out there.
there you go.
Just,
Keep the pulse on the Dolphins while the rest of us cry, and
Yeah.
we'll have you
I mean,
on.
Cry.
you know what? I'm
Ah.
really thinking about doing more fantasy stuff when fantasy comes in, because I do follow all these dudes on Twitter, and those feeds come in like handy at 11:56,
Right.
and so's not playing. Thanks,
Yeah.
So I might be doing that update thing.
Well,
I might just turn it into a whole fantasy thing. I don't know. Whatever comes to mind, whatever Grace Blazer wants me to do, I'll probably just do.
we appreciate you sitting in with us, man, and teaching us. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go to break. We'll come back. We'll talk to Ricky from New York. He's gonna talk to us about some baseball, some A-Rod. I keep
Easy
hearing like nicknames like A-Fraud and all that. Kind
A-Rod
of
the
stuff.
Centaur.
Airroy.
A-Rod the Centaur.
A-Rod the
Aroyd, that was
Centaur.
another one.
Airroy.
So we'll talk to Ricky when we come back from this break. Welcome back to the Sports Table. We're back. We had we want to give thanks. What?
You
Yeah, I know. We want to thank Roudy for coming into the studio and talking Dolphins. Now we got Ricky, the second appearance from MLB.com. He lives up in New York and he knows everything about. And the thing, Alan, how did you phrase Ricky and his fandom? He's
the acceptable Knicks fan.
He's an acceptable Knicks fan.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
That
You're
warms
welcome.
my heart, guys.
Let's be honest. It's mostly because you're a Giants fan. You don't have that double contaminant.
There you go. Well, Ricky's on with us, and Ricky, there's a lot of New York stuff. Whenever we need New York things, you're the first guy that I want to poke fun at and laugh because it's so funny. But Alex Rodriguez is in a lot of trouble. You're a Yankee fan. You work for MLB.com. What's going to happen with him? Is he ever going to play? First of all, is he ever going to play baseball? And secondly, is he ever going to play baseball with the Yankees again?
Well, okay, that's a two-part question. So the first part, is he ever going to play baseball? I mean, I have to think that this thing is going to proceed sort of like a contract negotiation. So, A-Rod probably asked for $300 million before they settled on giving him $275 or whatever it was for his horrible contract. So I'm sure baseball wants to ban him for life, but I'm sure once his lawyers get a hold of that, it'll be somewhere in the somewhere between 50 and 100 games. I'm assuming.
He's not. He's gonna play then. He's gonna play as a Yankee.
Well, it's funny that part of the question, because for about at least a week now, A-Rod has been trying to get on the field, and the Yankees just aren't letting him.
No, he's still hurt. He's still
what's
hurt.
weird about this is that they could clearly use him, because I mean the bums they've been trotting out at third base is I can't even tell you. So I mean, for me, I mean I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's clear that this is happening, but for me, the most likely scenario, when you look at all the factors involved, okay, so he wants to play. The team isn't letting him, even though they could clearly use him. All right, so in that sense, MLB has kind of avoided this whole thing because A-Rod's not on the field. He's not getting asked questions after every game, blah, blah, blah. From the other side, though, from the Yankees side, I think where they're going to get taken care of in this scenario is that I've read multiple places that Bud Selig is trying to suspend A-Rod under the labor agreement, not the drug agreement. And the big difference between those two is they can go after his money in the labor agreement. If he got suspended in that context, guess who doesn't have to pay A-Rod whatever millions are left on his contract anymore? So I think this is a case of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So, I mean, he'll eventually probably play with the Yankees again, but, who knows? Maybe Selig will be able to overcome his lawyers and get the lifetime ban that I'm sure he has to be looking for at this point, because this is just ridiculous.
But I got 2 questions or 2 points to make. One, the lifetime ban, that just seems absurd. And I'm not an A-Rod fan by any stretch of the imagination, but it seems absurd because he's never been banned by baseball before. So they're jumping the first 2 levels of what's in play with their policy to ban. I don't understand how that's okay. Like, as much as I can't stand that guy, it just doesn't sit right with me in terms of they want to jump to ban for life. This seems like, and then the second item you've brought up, this whole they're trying to attack him from the labor point of view so they don't have to pay him. To me, this seems like a witch hunt for A-Rod. Like, we've known you've been a dirty bad man this whole time, so now we're out to get you. But Major League Baseball certainly liked it when he was the face of Major League Baseball, hitting all the home runs. He basically was the face of baseball for a while. He was the one that was supposedly going to help them get over the steroid era, and now they're just trying to crucify him.
Right. Well, first things first, I'm not going to argue with anyone that says this is hypocritical. All of this is hypocritical. I mean, for them to have been upset with Bonds or McGuire or Sosa or anyone when they literally brought baseball back from the strike, it's of course it's hypocritical. So no, I don't think anyone in their right mind could argue against that. That's the first thing I'll say. Secondly, though, as far as being a witch hunt for A-Rod, I just feel like if you go down the list of people who actually admitted to, yes, I did this, yes, we have, there's video of me at a podium looking sad, admitting that I did steroids. I don't think any of those guys are implicated in it. Like, all these other guys have been, like, even someone like Braun, he was adamant that he didn't do anything. So I think that's the first thing right there. It's baseball's like, well, okay, you already admitted this. So it's kind of like with A-Rod, it's never simple. So it's sort of like you lied about it at first, then you admitted it, now you're lying again, and now we have you again. Like, I feel like this is almost unprecedented, so it makes sense that they'd go for an unprecedented penalty, if that makes sense. So,
but I think Ryan Braun gives you the perfect example of that. Like, Ryan Braun beat the system and basically rubbed their faces.
Did he beat it? He didn't beat it. Some P guy messed it up.
But that's what I'm saying. When he beat the system, and basically rubbed it in their face.
Right.
And I can't stand Alex Rodriguez. I never have been able to like him, but it just seems like all of this is pointed towards, and I understand
because he went to Gulliver.
The whole area. Well, actually, he went to Westminster.
Yeah. Oh, Westminster.
I understand the whole. His arrogance and he was the only one that wanted to fight this. Everybody was willing to take the plea, and all that stuff. I just Major League Baseball just can't seem to get out of their own way.
One of the things I heard was
though is that A-Rod is like Ryan Braun squared, because he first said he didn't do it on, whatever that interview was, 60 Minutes.
Yeah.
Then came out and admitted it. Then they won a World Series. Then from there, oh, no, I don't do that stuff anymore. And now you're on another list.
No, you're right.
At what point, are we going to just allow you to keep lying to our face?
No, I understand. I understand that perspective.
Well, one of the things I heard was that part of Major League Baseball's problem with him specifically is that he tried to buy all this evidence from biogenesis before Major League Baseball could buy all the evidence from biogenesis. And that's, I think, where they're going after the labor issues. That he tried to obstruct their investigation.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me because we're talking about a guy in A-Rod who, yesterday said he'd like to be a role model. So this the problem with A-Rod is that no matter
Shapiro.
no matter what he can, he has the ability to say, he's always going to say the worst possible thing he can pick. You know what I mean? He never
he's got such a
even,
talent.
He never half-asses it. He always. Retard.
Hey, if you're gonna be good at something, you might as well be the best.
Well, Ricky, the thing that separates also him from Braun and I guess any of the other guys that are going to be suspended, because it's going to be more than just these two. It's up to 80 baseball players. The thing that I heard is that A-Rod was the one that was leading him. He was the one that was almost like Lance Armstrong. He's the one that was distributing and telling guys, you should check this out down here in Miami.
Right. Well, it's funny you say that because I remember, and this was a while ago. This was back when Melky Cabrera was still on the team, and I think Cano had only been there maybe a couple years. And I just remember reading so many articles about A-Rod is, and this is from beat writers that are around the team every day. They're like, A-Rod is such a good mentor to these guys, all the young Latin guys. He always pulls them aside and has advice for them, blah, 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 blah.
and needles.
Well, I wonder what he was talking to them about. You know what I mean?
If you rub this clear liquid on your body, you'll be better.
I'm so afraid Cano's name is going to come up at some point. It's by the way, this guy Cano, who wasn't a prospect ever, and now, is one of the best second basemen in baseball. How'd that happen?
But Ricky, I have something to kind of ask you, see if you have any insight on this, because there were a ton of people on that biogenesis list, but I feel like they went after Braun, and Braun was like, all right, yeah, whatever, I did it. And now they're going after A-Rod, but they're leaving all these other names untouched so far. Why aren't they just going, like Bartolo Colon? Why aren't they just going after them already?
In the All-Star
game. All right, well, I'll say a couple of things on that. Number one, Ryan Braun is much like A-Rod in that, if Ryan Braun would have come out last year and been not been so adamant, basically, not so much admitted it, but just been I'm not sure what happened. Maybe the process got messed up. But he was so adamant last year. I mean, to the point of going after the tester personally, saying the guy should be fired, which, by the way, the guy did get fired. So really, when you look at Ryan Braun's situation, there's no 65-game suspension. It's supposed to be 50 or 100. What Ryan Braun got was a 50-game suspension plus 15 for being an asshole. Really what it is baseball doesn't want you to lie to their face and make them look bad because it's like anything. All these leagues are, super as corporate as you get. It's all about the public image. So I don't want you making me look bad in the bright lights. So that's to me, that's what the Braun situation was. The rest of these guys, I have to think, today's July 31st. The trade deadline just ended. I'd be shocked if by the weekend that we don't hear penalties for these guys. In my head, the thing that makes the most sense is, well, if you're someone who wanted to trade for, whoever the hell on the list, Nelson Cruz or whoever, and now you get him and he's immediately suspended. You're going to be pissed about that. So to me, they were letting the trade deadline go through. Maybe I'll be wrong about that. In a week, there still won't be any suspension. There still won't be any suspensions. But I think it was the trade deadline personally.
Well, this is what I was going to ask Ricky. So the Yankees, they don't make any moves. A lot of people were saying that other teams didn't make moves either. I think there was only 2 trades. Peavy got traded, but that was it. The Yankees are used to making the big moves. You know what I mean? The Red Sox just made a move, and it's between them two, the Rays and the Red Sox, for the lead in the AL East. What's up with the Yankees? I know Jeter's hurt, and A-Rod is juiced up that he can't talk. But what are the Yankees gonna do, basically?
Well, to me, I think if you ask Cashman in an honest moment, hey, why didn't we go after him? And really, it's that this team doesn't have enough to justify mortgaging future prospects for him. You know what I mean? And I know that's crazy to hear the Yankees think like that, because usually they're like, fuck the prospects, let's win now.
But I like it.
Just the injuries. I mean, Teixeira isn't a great player anymore, but still, to have him and Granderson go down, I mean, that to me, those were the killers. Like, A-Rod and Jeter, they're old. You can plan around them being hurt. Even Kevin Youkilis, he had a bad back, whatever. You knew what that was. But to me, Granderson and Teixeira, like, they were counting on both those dudes to be at least good, if not all-stars. And, I mean, this is the first Yankee team since, probably since Mattingly was on it, where they legitimately struggled to score 3 runs in a game. Like,
right.
It's horrible.
Well, I got a feel for you. It's got to be the Twilight Zone. I mean, you've been a fan, since you were born, right? So to see the Rays and the Red Sox ahead of the Yankees has to be surreal.
Yeah, it's crazy. But, the thing with the Yankees is even when they fail, you have to kind of qualify that failure. Because the one time in the past, 15 years they didn't make the playoffs, they still won 89 games.
Right.
Like, if they were in any other division, they would have made the playoffs. Even this year, they're 9 games over. I mean, even failure for the Yankees is the Brewers would still be celebrating if they were having this season. You know what I mean? So you kind of have to qualify it. But, yeah, it is weird to see, especially Tampa, when they're paying, Tampa's paying guys $20 an hour, and they're beating the hell out of everybody. It is incredibly frustrating. But, yeah, I mean, with the amount of injuries, I'm rational enough to look at it and be like, it just wasn't going to be our year, no matter what.
Well, from one team that you sort of knew and there's a future, we'll go to the other team that we all like to laugh at.
Yes.
I've been describing your basketball team as sort of the Barnum and Bailey of the league, because with the guys that you signed, it's going to be.
You're coming in really low. So I heard a Barnum and Bailey.
No,
I need to know what this is in reference to.
He's calling your Knicks a circus, bro.
Yeah, you're,
talk to us about your Knicks.
The next time that you look at your roster and you see your traveling agent commit suicide because every spot that they go to, it's going to be a battle, because between J.R. Smith, Kenyon Martin, Carmelo Anthony, and who's the other guy that they?
I don't remember.
And there's another guy.
At this point, they
Meadow.
Wait,
Metta World Peace
in the crazy equation?
Yeah,
of course.
I mean,
how dare you, sir?
He's going to start a riot somewhere.
It's going to be funny to watch. That's why I call him the Barnum and Bailey of the NBA, because they're going to be a riot.
Well, here's the thing I'll say, and especially when we're talking, because the two main candidates for this are Metta World Peace and J.R. Smith. So to me, I'm okay with it, mainly because I see that they're different kinds of crazy. Like, J.R. to me is like Allen Iverson crazy, where he might legitimately have a drinking problem. You know what I mean? Metta, I'm worried. Like, Metta is more like a pit bull who you think is trained, and you don't have him on a leash. Like, he might maul a child. You know what I mean? So I think they got different kinds of crazy, which is why I'm not as worried. Like, I'm still worried a little, but I'm not as worried than, if Metta liked to party, I'd be really worried. Him and JR would be found in an alley in the meatpacking district at 5 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky, you realize the most likable guy in those 4 is the guy that has a riot on his resume.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I was actually talking about this with a friend the other day. I was like, if Metta wants to refer his therapist to JR, I'm all for it.
So we're gonna go from J.R. Smith. He's gonna become he's gonna get his own little nickname. We're gonna come up with a nickname for him.
I mean, I'm sure the street already has a nickname for him. Oh, it's that guy again. But I mean, as a Knicks fan, when you see the Knicks make these moves, Ricky, what are you thinking?
What am I thinking? I'm thinking. Once LeBron decided to not come here, it was all it was all a prayer anyway. Really, I don't want to say respect it, but I understand. Even with the I gotta learn to say this guy's name. Bargnani. I don't even know how to say his name.
It's all right.
But even with those trades, I'm okay with them getting guys that aren't going to be terrified to shoot in the play. Jason Kidd, by the end of last year, You could have given Jason Kidd $1 million to stand on the free throw line with the game on the line, and he would have turned you down. He'd been like, "Nah, man." I'm at least okay with having guys that are confident enough in their ability to where
shoot 30%.
I
Right.
believe that if we would have had our test last year, maybe the Pacers still win, but they don't quite punk us the way that they punked it. Like, that was the most disheartening part of last year, was that it just felt like the Pacers took their lunch money and there wasn't anything they could do about it. So I'm all for the team getting tougher, and with Andrea, I'm not gonna try and say his last name. I'm all for the team getting more outside shooting, and Novak and Camby were useless anyway. So
when you see the other team cross city, I don't know how do boroughs work, Brooklyn, and I have no idea how they work. But when you see the other team in New York, and you see that they get Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, and they're sort of upcoming, I guess. I mean, what do you see as a Knicks fan? Like, they still have a while to go before they make sort of any impact.
I'm actually going to shock you guys with this one. I'm so happy they did that, because I had no real reason to hate Brooklyn. You know what I mean?
And now you do.
The rivalry, blah, blah, blah. But now that they brought the two biggest assholes, not just in the NBA, not just on the earth, but in the universe,
right?
Like, now that they have them literally, in the borough I live in, I'm so happy. I'm going to do everything I can to go to one of those games next year, because there's a legitimate reason to fucking hate that team now. I hate that fucking team now. It's so great.
Ricky, just be careful. Be careful. They're backed by the Russian mafia, bro.
It's the greatest thing.
Just be careful, Papo. They're backed by the Russian mafia. We don't want any bad stories coming out that you're in trouble.
Approaching and eliminate me from the earth. That might be
Well, Kevin Garnett himself has destroyed planets because he's the cockroach from Men in Black 1. Oh my God. Ricky, a couple more things before we let you go. There was a story or an article written by Jason Whitlock. Did you hear the article about him and Jay-Z? Did you read about it?
No, I didn't. I want to Google this right now.
Yeah,
Jason Whitlock, right?
Jason Whitlock wrote an article basically saying that Jay-Z does not belong in sports. That sort of the message that he brings is too hood and is too street, and
he's like a contaminant.
Right.
To everything.
And that he's a detriment basically to the black culture, and he doesn't belong in the sports realm because, Cano's signing with him and Kevin Durant is signing with his agency, and he basically made the case that Jay-Z shouldn't belong in there. I mean, he's from New York. You're a black guy. How do you see?
That's wrong on so many levels. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna give the two that first come to mind. First of all, we're talking about an industry where Drew Rosenhaus is thriving. It's not like he's going into an industry of saints. All these guys are greasy as fuck. So to think that Jay-Z is going to be the problem in that group is kind of laughable to me. All agents would stab their mothers to sign the number 1 draft pick. How is Jay-Z bringing the integrity of this group down? I don't understand that. And number 2, hello?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, okay, sorry. And number 2, saying Jay-Z's hood, I mean, he must have not listened to Magna Carta.
Oh.
This motherfucker's talking about, Basquiat paintings and yachts. What? There's nothing hood about Jay-Z anymore. Jay-Z's trying to, get on the schedule to meet, Mayor Bloomberg so he can talk about how to get taxed less.
Right.
I don't...
Well, I mean, he sat at the inauguration. He sat at the inauguration of President Obama. So yeah, he's gone far away.
Right. I mean, yeah. So, if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if it's an agent being like, "Look, how am I going to compete with Jay-Z pulling up in a Bentley and being like, hey, Durant, you've listened to my music since you were fucking 4. Don't front. You're signing with me." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What sales pitch is Jay-Z gonna fucking give you to convince you to I'm fucking Jay-Z? You're gonna sign on the dotted line.
Right. One more thing, or actually a couple more things, Ricky. Jay-Z has a lyric. I mean, it's been a discussed topic down here in Miami and some of the stations that I've been a part of. He wrote a lyric saying that he makes the Yankee cap more famous than the Yankees do. You're a Yankee fan. Is that true? Does he make a case? Does he have a point? Or is he just way off?
This is a good question. I'm going to say Yes and no. I know that's a total cop out.
Yeah,
but
complete cop out. I want to end it. I want to end it.
He definitely made it more popular amongst a certain demographic, let's say, because just looking at Major League Baseball, I mean, how many good black players are in Major League Baseball? Trust me when I tell you, I've had a lot of discussions with friends of mine where I'm like, oh, man, did you see that game? And like, Ricky, we don't watch baseball. Like, that's some white people shit, man. Like, so for sure, I mean, he made it popular amongst, some hood dudes that weren't really checking, that Jeter had 5 rings or whatever. But amongst the rest of the general public, I'm going to say most of them are going to know who Derek Jeter is before him. So,
Well, let's add some caveat to that. Does he make the regular Yankee cap more popular, or did he do that for the colored ones, where everyone gets like the green Yankee cap, and that became the standard cap?
Oh yeah, for sure. And the other aspect to that is, and the same thing happened with Boston when they won a couple times, is you get the bandwagon fans who want to wear the pink hats and I don't want to be sexist about it, but the 22-year-old hot chick that's never seen a fucking baseball and now she loves Derek Jeter. Like it's horrible. So yeah, I mean, and New York is kind of prone to that anyway. And I mean, obviously, as Miamians, I don't have to tell you fucking bandwagon jumpers. Bandwagon
we are experts, sir. You are not on our level.
I am offended,
dude. I'm a lifelong Dolphin.
You are. You are. But you stand above most people in this city. We are experts in this city.
That is very true.
I have never jumped on
no
a Miami
one
bandwagon.
finds a party like Miami.
Yeah.
We're an event town.
Yeah.
No, event town is the perfect description. We are an event.
I mean, I remember living down there when the Miami Hurricanes had legitimately like some of the best college footballs of all time. College football teams of all time, but because they're playing fucking Temple at home, no one cared. You know what I mean? Like,
you could sit anywhere. You had Taco Bell in your pockets because they didn't check for anything. Yeah, we don't show up for that. We show up for FSU. That's it.
Florida. They're going to show up for Florida.
Oh, yes, we will.
Ricky, you sort of touched upon it between Miami and New York fans. Now, be fair. I'm asking you to be fair. Who are the bigger douchebags, Miami fans or New York fans?
Oh man, that's so tough. I have to go with Miami, and this is the only reason.
Wow,
you lies.
It's not because you guys are worse sports fans or dumber or anything like that. Miami, the key difference between Miami and New York is that you guys stole that thing from LA where it's like, not only do I have to be a big deal, I have to let you know how much of a bigger deal than you I am. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, to me, that's the key aspect that puts you guys above nearly every city in the country.
Really?
Is that need to broadcast. Like, no, I know I'm the shit, but it's not fulfilling enough for only me to know it. I need everyone in the parking lot to know it.
What if we divide New York in half, Jets and Giants?
Well, it's funny. Jets fans aren't douchebags. They're just miserable. Like, they just hate everything. Like, I've never met an optimistic Mets or Jets fan ever. Like, ever in my life. So, yeah.
Ricky, one last thing before we let you go. I'm going up there. We're gonna hang out one day up in New York. How much shit will I take if I wear my Heat stuff?
Oh, my God. Okay, the two main ones you're going to get are, can you name anyone else on the team besides LeBron and Wade? And were you a fan before LeBron got there?
Okay.
Because the amount of comments, like even when I mentioned, like, oh, yeah, I know some friends that are Heat fans, and they're like, yeah, did they just get there 2 years ago? I'm like, and I have to actually defend you guys that you were trying to tell me Michael Beasley was going to be good and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
wait, what horrible people were you hanging out with at that time? Holy crap!
Ricky remembers the days when I was pleading for Kyle Lorton.
Oh yeah, I do. Oh,
you still had hope then?
Yeah.
Hey, we won't even go there, bro.
Wait, hold on.
That's hurtful
I gotta
memories.
know, actually, are you still calling Tannehill the wide receiver? I remember that was your thing.
That was the beginning of the show. Yeah, he started this adventure.
I'm waiting for this second season to see if he could actually play quarterback. So we'll see.
Well, they got him Mike Wallace. They got him some weapons.
I guess. Ricky, we really appreciate it. It was great you calling in and teaching us what's going on in New York.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
There you go.
Later.
That was great. Ricky was great. He works for MLB.com. Look for him there. We're going to go to break. We're going to come back. We have some Marlins to get to, some little tidbits here and there.
Woo!
We got Come Mierda of the Week left, so don't go anywhere.
Always in trouble, need love on a double, spend cake in a lifetime, climbing to the level, contract with the devil.
This doesn't sound like it comes from Japan.
That's because you're uncultured, bro.
You're calling me uncultured?
That's right. I'm international. I'm Mr. Worldwide.
If you lived in
Thanks,
if you lived in Japan, would you be happy?
No. There's no space for anything, dude.
He would never want to understand the language either.
Yeah, that language is hard. That language.
Yeah, they don't carry the subtitles.
No, there's no subtitles. I can do subtitles. Look, the minute Google Glass puts audio subtitles in there, where I can see subtitles as it listens to other people,
You still won't leave your house.
No, what? I have to. I'm gonna have to. In Japan, you can't stay in there. They don't have much space for good TVs.
Once you hear the sirens of Godzilla, you gotta go.
No, you're screwed. You're screwed.
I like the Google Glass idea. That's a pretty cool idea. I like that.
What?
The subtitles. I like
Oh, yeah. You would think at some point Google will have that.
Oh, that's
where they
I mean,
listen
I
to
like that
they listen to
idea.
some dude in Russian and you can hear him threaten your mother.
Yeah, they
idea.
already
It's
have
pretty
Google
cool.
Translate, so all you need is a good enough thing to actually do the subtitles.
And I think in
at the
Google
bottom.
Translate for phones,
Yeah,
there's
wait.
an audio thing.
You know the way that's gonna work. It's gonna give you the wrong subtitle.
there's
You're
no-
gonna
yeah,
be saying
for sure.
stuff.
All context is out.
The guy's
sure.
gonna tell you "Have a nice day." It's gonna come out "Screw yourself." You're gonna be in fights.
And especially in that language where there's like levels of formality
harsh.
and
It's
stuff
harsh.
like that. No,
You're gonna get a paragraph saying he could have said this or maybe this, but he probably said
your
this.
glasses just start smoking because they're like, what the hell? I don't know what to say.
They just shut off. Well, we're back here. We want to give thanks to Roudy for coming in and for Ricky calling in.
They were both good.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
we got it. We got the connection. And before we get into the Marlins talk, why were you so harsh on my question about black people getting sunburned?
Well,
You got really offended.
Because, all right, I took a class once, the after school care thing. I took a class, and the teacher was black, and a mother asked, I don't know what to tell if my children, because they're dark, and you're dark. I don't know what to tell. Do they get sunburned? And this lady just looked at her, like shocked, like, yeah. I'm not sure, because I don't see them get, ma'am,
see
I'm
them.
black. We get burned.
Yeah, but
we're human too.
I have to side with Chris on this, man. I've been around a long time, and I never
know.
thought they got burnt.
I
You
know.
just can't see it as well because
No,
like
no, but
you
look,
and me.
listen,
okay,
I'll be-
I'm
I'll
with
be
you.
honest-
You and me, we turn into lobsters.
Yeah, and my thing is, and again, I'm talking now across broad cultures. The Latin cult, like my wife's Latin, she does not get burned as easily as I do. Greeks are infamous for their inability, like they tan, like there's no burning in them, and so I just never thought, because it's all the melatonin in your skin and all that stuff. So I just always assumed they were like the height of melatonin in their skin, and so that wasn't something they had to deal with.
I know they get ashy. Like
Yeah.
ashy knuckles.
I've heard that one too. But like the burning, they burn. They just don't change color the same way we do.
I mean, obviously, I understand that now. I just I never knew it was. I thought, I guess the process of being burnt. I thought their way their skin tone, color, melatonin, all that stuff. I just thought it took care of that. Like I didn't think that was something they had to deal with.
You're getting all offended about that
Because
question.
I was shocked.
Even
That
Rudy's
seemed
like,
a
yeah,
silly
we
thing.
do.
Well, because he's probably been asked that question so many
Ah.
times. But
You think so?
Well, part of Well, you think you guys are the only ones that didn't think black people get burned?
Yeah, but did they go out and ask it? I'm not sure.
I'm sure there's ballsy people.
I don't think a
everywhere.
lot of people would ask that question.
No, I'm
unless
sure he's
you're-
just come across it enough that he's just like, yeah, we do. Just takes a little longer.
Yeah.
But
let me tell you a funny story really quick about this sort of issue. I was standing in a Don Pan in Hialeah, okay?
oh god,
This
And
is
I
gonna be terrible.
we're waiting in line to get the Cuban bread. Behind me is an old Cuban man with his granddaughter, okay? And she's got to be 3-4 years old, something like that. 2 people in front of me is a black guy standing there. Little girl lets go of the grandfather's hand, walks to the black guy, grabs his hand, and licks it. And she says out in front of everybody, no es de chocolate. The grandfather turned so red, grabbed the granddaughter, and walked out in front of everybody. The black guy's like, "What the fuck?" You know what I mean? And everyone was just shocked.
Wait, so it was like an American black guy?
It was an American black guy. It wasn't a Cuban black guy.
My son pulled that one time, and we were in Best Buy, and he had just started talking, experiencing the world, and there was a short person. Dad, what's wrong with her?
What do you say?
Loud enough. No, it's like you're trying to explain it. You're trying to smile at the lady. Trying to, it's tough, man. And stuff like that comes up all the time. My son's not. And again, this is out of the innocent. And this is what kills me sometimes about the world, because my son's innocent, like totally innocent. Hey, Dad, why is he brown? Like. This is the way God. It's just the way God made him. But they're so innocent in it. But dude, they say it at the wrong time always. It never fails. It never fails.
What's the most embarrassed you've been? Was it that
the short lady? Yeah, because she gave me that look of, I'm going to go ballistic on you very quickly. I was like, yeah, it was
we the Munchkin delegation don't take this properly. Well, we got some Marlins to get to, and we're not really going to break down X's and O's because the Marlins are out of the playoffs, even though they're not numerically out, but we all know they're out. They're
way
know
the
below
truth.
Yeah. They're struggling. They lost. There was 37 innings in a row where they didn't score. Yeah. They won a few games, but,
our division is so bad that somebody tweeted out yesterday that the Braves already have a magic number of 46.
Really?
Yeah. They're already counting magic numbers.
How about the
Nationals,
for the Braves, bro? Think about the Nationals.
Yeah.
They were the team that was on the verge of breaking through, and they just can't seem to do anything right this year.
Yeah. It's fun to look at baseball through a Miami perspective, because once your team is out of it, you sort of get disconnected. Like when the Dolphins get out of the – actually, that's not true, because the NFL is a different story. I watch NFL no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
But most of the time when your team isn't in it, you tend to sort of wave away, and this happened in February when they traded everybody, and you saw the team that you were going to get.
Fantasy sports is what fixes that, because that's what makes other sports relevant to us.
Right.
Because we'll watch football all season long because we still got fantasy players going, and it's my championship on the line.
Yeah, my pride. Right.
Some people would say that fantasy sports has ruined.
Really?
I don't know, man. It makes me pay attention to everybody.
No, look, it's made it more popular. When I say ruined, it's a lack of intelligence about the way some things, like it's only about stats. It's only about, and again, I have utmost respect for fantasy players. There are people out there who there's this movement of, you think you know stuff, but you really don't. For you, it's all about the stats. It's all about, you really, and again, I'm not speaking to you specifically, but the general fantasy player. No, I'm not.
Squirtle.
Just saying.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was never into fantasy sports until I got out of high school. And up until then, I was a huge football fan. I followed every team that I could. I was into every playoff picture. I was excited about football all the time.
Let me start clapping for you, Squirtle.
And then I found out about fantasy football, and my life changed.
Right. Yeah. It's one of those moments.
Well, I can tell you, like, for me, I enjoy football. Football out of all the sports, and I used to play baseball. That's just kind of funny. Football's the one that I can watch almost any game on any time.
I'm with you.
It's basketball, not so much. I mean, I can, but not so much. Baseball, certainly not. And again, that was a game I loved. I went to the first Mario and stuff like that. But fantasy does help you be involved in a league-wide basis, no matter what league you're in. There's some ignorant people out there. They think they know everything because they play fantasy, but they don't. They know players and stats. And
who do you have in mind? Who do you have in mind?
No, just people that I've seen. I mean, from a little, you might get a little chamaco in high school who thinks it's like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Well, listen, we got the Marlins to get to. Apparently, Tito Martinez was on the team, which I didn't realize. He was actually a hitting coach.
Yeah, doing a good job as a hitting coach too, huh?
And then he became a hitting coach apparently, and then
he just he choke slammed someone.
So
here's the deal: hitting coach, and again, I don't really. In the major leagues, it's really hard for me to gauge because they're professionals. They're supposed to, he was John Carlos Stanton's hitting coach, the same as he was the guy who's hitting 220's hitting coach. But yeah, it's kind of a weird situation actually.
I mean, the reason why he resigned was apparently he had a disagreement with one of the players. It ended up being Justin Ruggiano, that he didn't pick up the balls after batting practice, and he didn't like it. And there was an incident that happened. The Marlins don't really get into it that much, but he felt obligated to resign, or someone told him you got to resign.
Well, there's a couple things. To me, I think the incident. What I heard, the incident that mattered is Derek Dietrich, who's now they've demoted.
He's the one that went down.
He supposedly, according to Dietrich, grabbed him by the throat. According to Tino Martinez, grabbed him by the shirt. I mean, 6'1", half a dozen of the others. I was listening to the radio the other day. Boog Shambi was talking about the incident as a whole, and he says he read an article, and you start off and you read the article, and you're thinking that Tino Martinez, he's an old school player, and here are these brat kids not picking up the baseballs. But then as you go incident by incident that is being listed in this article, you come back to the baseball thing, and you can see now where this is all kind of falling apart.
Right.
And being a coach, not everybody. It's not for everybody, man. It's not. And you some people try and do it, and they don't understand the relational aspect of it. I think it's well documented throughout all of the sports too. People learn. I don't know it. I don't know Tino Martinez. I hope he learns from this. If he's good at what he does, which is hard to say because the Marlins rank last in runs scored.
Right.
If he's good at what he does, I hope he gets another shot. Because he screwed up. He made a mistake. And certainly again, I coach high school sports. It can be very frustrating as a coach when you have players who, basically in your face disobey you, stuff like that. It's tough. It's tough.
Well, I was going to ask both Alan. Jason, have you ever coached or?
Not really, no.
Well, I was going to ask both of you guys because you guys were actually coaches. Have you crossed the line? Ever come close to crossing the line? Because apparently this guy did cross the line.
I wouldn't say close out of anger. Because I'm eccentric. I do things that are a little odd for most people. So So, I mean, I've done things, and to the player, he knew what I was doing. It was playing around, but the parent didn't take it very well. So I had to have a conversation with the head coach of the program. Have I grabbed kids by the shirt? I've never grabbed the shirt and angrily just yelled at a kid. I've grabbed him to bring him in front of me to talk to him. So I wasn't an angry guy to begin with on the court anyway. I was just loud. But I've never crossed a line where I actually have to be concerned the next day that I'm gonna be called into the AD's office or anything.
I coach girls, so for me the physical aspect of it has never been like I've never wanted to punch a girl in the face. I mean, literally. But I've been angry enough to where I have to watch my mouth, what I want to say, how I say it. So yeah, I can see it again getting to that point of But again, I think the bigger issue here and again, not knowing the whole story, is the building of relationships and stuff. You might be able to grab a guy by his jersey and get in his face if you built a relationship over time to where he trusts you or you're on that level. To do it just out of the blue or because, hey, I'm Tino Martinez, that's a tough deal.
Yeah, I'll tell you straight up. Your brother's one of the guys I would grab by the shirt. And your brother would come to me after that and ask me about TV shows. There was never a harm in it. Right. It was just I needed to talk to him. The other thing I heard, though, for the Tino Martinez was that he didn't really establish how this shagging of the balls thing was going to be from the beginning of the season. And then was shocked that these young guys didn't do it his old school way.
I don't know. I'm going to get a little into this in the Como Mierda section. I got a whole deal that involves some of this.
I got you.
But I can see how it all went down, to be honest with you. He comes in, he's very combative. Look, by all accounts, you listen to all coaches, sports has changed. Athletes have changed. No longer can you be the hit him over the head and punch him in the face. The Pat Rileys of the world, their time is gone if they don't adapt. I mean, I'm not sure Pat Riley, and the reason why I use Pat Riley is because people still look at him as an iconic figure.
Yeah, they still want him to come down from heaven.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing about him compared to other people, I think he recognizes he is not built for today's athlete.
The team themselves have said they don't want him down.
Well, but I think he said it too. I think
he agrees with it.
And so I think you had the butting of the heads from day one, and this is where a manager like a Mike Redmond, a rookie manager, this is where they got themselves into trouble. Because you had a guy who couldn't help your assistant be a better coach. I think Mike Redmond's probably pretty good at what he does. He's done it at another level. Again, the young team, it seems like they've played well at times in the season. So I don't take anything away from Mike Redmond, but I also think, and I can tell you this from a personal experience, moving from an assistant to being a head coach and having to deal with not only the personalities of your players, but also trying to help your assistants grow up as coaches, it's a tough deal sometimes.
Let me ask you guys this then. Since you haven't been the one to get in it with someone, have you been a part of a coaching staff where that coach crossed the line?
No. Very peaceful.
All right.
Yeah.
I've never been part of a coach, but I've watched coolers fly. I think a lot of it's all about the atmosphere. In football, you're more likely to get a coach, grab a guy by the face mask, stuff like that.
Oh, I've heard stories coming out of our high school from that, and our high school wasn't that big of a deal.
But that's what I'm saying. I think again, the line moves with every sport, and I don't advocate any type of violence. I don't advocate any type of but I also believe that our society kind of they've gone the other way with it at times too. I mean, I've seen coolers get kicked. We have a coach at the school. One day he was so mad at his team, he decided he was going to leave practice. He's trying to rip the whistle off. He rips the whistle off. He throws it down. He walks like 10 steps away, comes back, and kicks the water cooler because they're not allowed to have water anymore. And it's like, it's comical when you're watching it, but there's a parent that would watch that and say, look at the way this guy's acting with my kid.
Yeah.
And it's, again, how do you make your point? I think it's different for every athlete. And I think that's what got missed here. He's a rookie coach, and I'm not excusing anything he did. And there was no one to help mentor him. Who knows? Maybe through his whole career, he played for coaches. That's exactly the way they behaved. So he figured that's what. And look, he was a pretty good player. He hit the ball pretty well. So he figured, well, this is the best way to teach hitting. We don't know.
Right. Well, Jason, from people that care about, I guess, their players, you went to a Marlins game that no one cares about. How was that?
It was actually a lot of fun. I mean, you have to cheer for different things as the game goes on, because at first you get there like, yeah, go Marlins. And then they're down 2-0, and then halfway through the sixth inning you realize, oh man, the Mets pitcher has a no-hitter. Go no-hitter.
Really?
Yeah. And then he blew his no-hitter in the bottom of the seventh. So from that point on, it was like, oh well,
go Panco Lechon.
No, that had already happened. Like I had to ease myself into the game, so I got there, and since I hadn't been to Marlins Park yet, I walked around.
Did you do the tour? The tour was
really cool. I did the tour. I did the walk around. I enjoyed myself. I got myself a pan con lechon, and I got a beer, and I eased myself into the game, and I finally got to my seats around like the fifth inning. So I was already good. Like I had seen the game, because you can see the game from any part of the park.
Really cool, yeah.
So I had seen the game, and I saw when the Mets put up their first 2 runs, and it was fun. And I eased myself into the game, and then as usual, the Marlins disappointed me, but it was still.
Was it empty?
No, remarkably, it was
filled with the other teams. I didn't even know who they played.
No, they were playing the Mets.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why. That's why.
Fair. All right.
Yeah.
Crawling out of the sewers, Mets fans just showed up.
Oh, you have no idea.
Right.
I'm gonna get to that later.
I see why. Well, this is. I mean, I'm glad you went. I've only been to one so far this season, and again,
keep it that way.
When I went, I used to go last year a bunch of times, and those were actually some of my best dates with the girlfriend that I'm with now, and I had such fond memories of going to Marlins Ballpark. When I went this season, and there was no one there, and everyone was angry, it was really depressing. It got to me. I was like, man, I have such fond memories of this ballpark.
The ballpark in and of itself is, I mean, it's exquisite. It's nice. It's cool.
I hope so. You paid for it. So. Going.
Tan cuidado. Carlos is going to swoop in from wherever he is just to be like, that's right.
Going into this last part of the Marlins, MLB.com did a poll online, and they said, who is the face of the franchise? As fans, who's the face of the franchise? Now, there are 8 people that were suggested as the franchise face. Who do you think is number one? I mean, if you don't know already, don't participate.
Saw it, yeah.
Stemmer, you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it yet. I would say who should be is obviously Giancarlo Stanton, or the rookie who they've made very big deal about, Jose Fernandez.
Right.
They've probably either have, I would say, Jeffrey Loria or David Sampson there.
Well, they have Jeffrey Loria as number 2. You're right with Stanton. He won number 1.
Yeah.
But to round out the 8, it was Giancarlo Stanton and Jeffrey Loria, which, by the way, the owner is the face, whatever.
That's a bad sign.
No, that's bad.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That's bad. And
That's terrible.
Then third was Billy the Marlin.
Rainbow billed Billy the Marlin.
4th place came in as the Toronto Blue Jays. As the face. 5th place was the center field statue. 6th place was nobody. 7th place was Juan Pierre, and 8th place was Logan Morrison.
I'd like to know when this poll was taken, because that kid has become a pretty big sensation.
Yeah,
was that recently?
This was recent. Yeah, this was recent.
Fernandez has become a pretty big. I mean,
Yeah,
he went to
I
the
know.
All-Star game.
He pitched one amazing inning.
As a
in
matter
the
of
All-Star
fact,
game.
nobody
I
watched.
firmly believe now that I've because I tried not to do any Marlins at all this year, but I kind of decided that I can look at some. I firmly believe they're going to try and make him the face of the franchise. They're not. Look, as much as I hate to say this, they have no shot at retaining Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh, he's out of here.
Man, that's not only economics anymore. There's a lot of factors behind that. And so I think they're hoping the whole story of coming from Cuba and all that stuff, I think they're going to.
And he's a stud.
No, stud's not the way. Look, right now, to be honest with you, again, put all hatred aside, their young pitching staff could become one of the best in the majors.
If they sign
Their
him,
young but they'll play their games. They'll play their arbitration game. They'll have those guys 4 or 5 years, and they're good. They're good young pitchers. It's kind of crazy.
They don't have any bats. When you go to the game and you see the lineup on the board,
Polanco.
there's no.
Well,
he wasn't even playing
problem
yesterday.
that's the problem is their bats are from the 2 ends of the spectrum besides Giancarlo. The young kids are going to be good. You can see it. The Yelich, the even the Dietrich kid. I was impressed by the way, but that takes time. There's a reason why there's several levels of minor leagues. There's a reason why people. I mean, there's very few people that come right into the pros, and so I think you're seeing, and this is what's sad. You're seeing the future and what it could be. Like, I'm one of those guys that I look at it and I go, it's a shame at the way they did business last year, because I don't think you have any shot of getting Giancarlo Stanton to ever sign anything here. But you could easily, if you had not been such douches with the last group of free agents, you could easily approach Giancarlo now and say, listen, look how good these guys are. Be here 3, 4, 5 years. We're gonna have a monster team. Their outfield could be incredible with Ozuna and Yelich, and then you throw in and Stan. That outfield could be one of the best hitting outfields in the majors, and so it's just sad to see again, kind of what they've brought things to it. And to me, the even sadder part is as we move further and further away from last year's ugliness, it's gonna roll back into the same conversation. These guys, look at what a good job they did on this trade, and look at the prospects they picked up, and their farm system's loaded, and look what a good job they've done here. And the spotlight will again shift from the real problem with the Marlins.
Well, I mean, with what they have now, though, there was another list of top players under 20 or 21, and Jose Fernandez was, I think, 4th or 5th. They had Machado up there. They had Puig. They had a couple other guys.
Let me tell you what, that kid they just brought up, Yelich, that kid's good.
Yeah.
I was surprised they hadn't brought up yet. The kid that they sent down that had season-ending surgery, the Ozuna kid, that kid's a stud.
Yeah.
And they have some good young players. But, again, what does that mean?
What does that mean to you, Alan?
That means they'll be playing for somebody else in 3 years.
All right. That's fair. What we're going to do is we're going to go to break because, again, the Marlins lead us perfectly into the Come Mierda of the week. We'll wrap up the show next with Come Mierda. I love this music. I've heard it every show. Not every show. This started around show, what, 4 or 5?
I think so. Yeah.
So over 20 shows I've heard this song. And this song will run and run and run. And even when I don't want to really necessarily listen back to the whole show, I'll listen to Come Mierda.
Did you skip last week's?
No, I was actually listening to last week's today.
You survived the your word fumble?
Yeah, exactly. Never again, sort of thing.
It is you a little confused that last week's Dever, he just butchered Come Mierda, and it turned into Come Mierda the meat. Like it just all died, and it turned into we all laughed, and he had his head down.
Edited it. We couldn't edit. You should have put like a beep beep.
It's my ringtone for text messages.
It is?
Yeah.
You
so
son of a bitch.
Every time you texted me, it's just Come Mierda the meat.
Damn you, technology. Well, this is Come Mierda of the week. And I never get sick of this song. I don't know why. It just brings me so much joy because with this music comes just such raw. I don't even know how to say it.
I just imagine a bunch of like old dudes sitting around a table and playing their dominoes and hablando. They're just talking crap about everything in the world.
That's true.
Which fits for the segment.
Right. Well, weeks go and we pick a Come Mierda. It could be something, someone, whatever. And you call them out and you say why they were Come Mierda and what they did, whatever it was. I kind of want to go first. Is that all right with everybody? Because
as long as you don't butcher it.
Enunciate.
Yeah. I have 3 Come Mierdas this week. My first Come Mierda is there was a big news for whatever reason. There was a baby born in England. That was kind of big.
Oh, yeah.
Very important.
Right.
James Bond
it was
is protecting
news
that baby.
everywhere. I watch NBC. I watch Nightly News with Brian Williams. That's my boy. And it led the news for about 2 or 3 days. The baby.
Hey,
it's a baby.
Someone tweeted out, some one of the guys I followed, I like to pray for all the children born today who aren't royalty and have to worry about working and crap.
There was a lot of, hoopla around it, and just it was crazy. There were reporters waiting outside the hospital where this baby was going to be born for weeks and weeks and weeks.
You know they had betting odds on the name?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
it was like legitimate Vegas type thing.
They were crazy, but they were crazy. They go crazy in Britain over that crap.
Yeah. I wonder what the pot was on that.
Dude, and they had so many names with so many odds on it. It was ridiculous.
So it was mayhem, basically. So the day that the baby's born, out comes this guy that looks the part of anyone that is going to be born of a royal announcer. I don't know if you guys saw it. He was wearing this feathery hat.
Yeah,
it was blue and white. He was dressed up. He had a scroll. He wore white gloves, and he goes, "Today is the day that the king, the third in line of the crown." Whatever he goes on his rant. God bless or God save the Queen. Everyone gave an applause. It was amazing.
And then Rafiki came out and he lifted the baby up from Fried Rock.
Everyone's like, here, here. Everything.
Tally-ho!
It ends up that guy wasn't even a part of the royal family. They didn't even hire him. He was some random dude.
So he was Rafiki. He was just the monkey who just came out of nowhere.
No, because Rafiki...
The monkey was given a position.
Yeah. This guy was just some random guy that came in. And guess what? We all bought it. We all ate it up. All the media played that. I saw that on Nightly News 6 times. The guy saying, "The third in line to the crown, God save the Queen." And he wasn't even a part of them. So for everyone buying Joe Schmo, he was probably some homeless person that decided to join in for that. And for everyone eating it up, including myself, because I thought, okay, these guys do it up well. They have to have a baby caller, but it wasn't. It was just some random dude. They're Come Mierdas of the week for me.
Come mierda.
I would actually give that guy props. Just to, I mean, you're all of a sudden
know,
like
he-
national spotlight. It's
He's
like,
not my
oh!
come mierda. No,
It's
yeah.
everybody
It's
buying
everyone
it.
else
It's
that
us.
bought it in. Yeah,
It's all of us going, oh, the announcer told us. Okay,
Right.
it's all good.
My second come mierda of the week is this this guy in New York. He's kind of running for mayor. I don't know if you guys heard about it.
Wiener.
Ah,
Yeah.
Wiener. Very good name for that guy. Wiener.
Yeah.
What? No, what was his?
No.
Right, no, before I steal it. You're right. Before I steal it. Go.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Go.
So this guy gets in trouble again for, texting his junk out. He likes to do it. He likes to text his junk out.
The
to
wiener's
people.
wiener.
Yeah, exactly. What's really funny is that he didn't think he was gonna get caught, and by doing so, he came up with a new name, for his Twitter or whatever it was. He comes out as his screen name as Carlos Danger.
No, but I don't know if you know this part. But it's, he spent like $40,000 trying to investigate who hacked him.
Who hacked his Twitter, and it was him. Right. That should have been on Carlos's segment.
Oh yeah, $40,000 our money.
Scumbag.
Yeah. So
Carlos Danger.
it was funny because Colbert says, yeah, you definitely don't want to be associated with a name like Anthony Weiner. So he comes out with Carlos Danger. So for that, trying to mask yourself up and still deciding to stay in the race and run for mayor of New York, Carlos Danger, you're my come mierda of the week.
Come mierda.
My last one. It's the first time that I'm doing this. I am the come mierda of the week.
Oh no.
And I'll tell you why. On Tuesday, I was working, and I decided to go out with Mike Lubitz. He's a guy that works here, and there's a sponsor. There's Dickie's Barbecue. Dickie's Barbecue. Okay, it's a local joint right by here. Once he said, let's go to Dickie's Barbecue. Yes, let's go. My mouth is watering. It's delicious, delicious barbecue. I get there before he does. And I talk to the actual owner, the person that's running the thing. Hey, man, how's it going? I've only met him once or twice before. Hey, how's it going, Chris? Oh, man, it's great. Oh, where's Lubitz? Oh, he's on his way. He just told me we were eating, and I was like, yeah, I wanted Dickie's in my mouth.
Did the guy react?
The guy stopped talking, looked me up and down, and said, "You want to say that again?" This is one of the sponsors for this station. This is one of Defoe's sponsors that I said that to.
Yeah, but that could be like a radio soundbite. That could be awesome.
Don't worry, that'll be my ringtone for emails by the end of this week.
So for that, I am the real come mierda of the week.
Come mierda.
I'm done.
Go ahead, Rosario.
All right. I got two, and I said I was going to get to one later, so I'm going to do the personal one first. Because sitting at the Marlins game, I happened to be right directly in front of a Mets fan. Now, this particular Mets fan exemplifies the Jersey Shore. This person was not paying attention to the game. They only saw whenever the Mets were hitting, and then they started playing on their phone the entire time. And then they hear contact of the bat, and as soon as they hear contact, you hear, "Oh yeah!" And every time it was a foul ball, nothing happened. The guy flied out to second. The guy bunted it back to the pitcher.
The bunt's gotta be funny.
And you just hear bat on ball contact, and this lady screams, "Oh yeah!
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!"
So, Jersey Shore Mets fan, you are my first come mierda of the week.
Oh yeah! Come mierda! Yeah!
My second come mierda. Now, to give a little background on this one of the people that I hate most on this planet because he's such a douche is Kanye West.
Yeah.
Hey, yo. He's been on this segment before.
Yeah, he's a regular.
But he's not my come mierda.
Okay, go on.
Everybody remembers the time at the VMAs where Kanye got up on stage in the middle of Taylor Swift's speech and started complimenting Beyonce's video. I'm going to let you finish. I swear. But, well, this week in sports, Georgia coach Mark Rich decided that he wanted to go in front of everybody in the media and say, Jadeveon Clowney is the greatest player in football.
Right.
Not like college, not like all football, encompassing all football. And you just have to think to yourself, I understand that he's a great player and he's going to amount to something when he gets to the NFL, whenever he gets there. But are you ruling out like everybody else, either at his position or at other skill positions?
He doesn't even play for him, though. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
He's in the SEC, too.
I heard that story, but I didn't hear that it was Rick. I thought it was someone on the...
I knew it was Rick, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Rick.
That's Miami guy right
crazy.
there.
I know. So this happening, it's like, it's not even your school, and you're saying this about somebody else. First of all, think about how your players feel now. Like, oh, great. So coach thinks we're crap. Awesome. And then you're doing this in front of the media to the nation, and it's just so frustrating to understand that people could be so stupid to not think about what they're going to say to the national media. And I could go off on a rant about the media, but I'm not going to. I was planning to about this whole craziness with Johnny Manziel, but that's a different story for another time. So because of that, Mark Richt is my second Come Mierda of the week.
Come Mierda! I'll go first because you got the chain 3 that you said. So let me get mine out of the way.
He'll anchor it.
So I'm going to start, since we talked a lot of baseball today, Chad Qualls.
Yeah!
Chad Qualls, it's not enough that we suck. It's not enough. It's not enough that the Marlins suck. Chris, have you seen? You know what I'm talking about?
No,
okay, we'll show you. We'll show you in a little while. All right.
I did see the celebration.
It's not enough that we suck. All right.
Yeah.
It's not enough that we have a bad rap as a sports city, which is kind of deserved, but still, you're not helping things, bro. Don't celebrate. You suck. All right. You suck. Your team sucks. Don't celebrate a strikeout on like a 220 hitter. And if you're going to celebrate, don't pull a Grammatica and ruin the celebration. You tumbled as a judo class, bro. Like, what the hell? You can't fist pump at all? Nothing? You throw one punch and you just tumble? What the hell is that? I can't fight, but I can throw one punch and not fall down. Coño. So for that, Chad Qualls, for making us look worse than we already do, you're one of my Come Mierdas of the week. Come Mierda! With a tumble.
Hey, but wait, I got a question because I don't watch him. Because did he come out the next inning and give up the runs?
All I see is the highlight.
He didn't.
Oh,
okay.
So he tumbled his way out of the game?
Yeah, that's it.
Basically,
he sprained something.
He tumbled his way out of the game. But what's funny is he had just had, like, he started that inning off by giving up a leadoff triple.
Yeah.
And he got out of the inning, no runs scored, and everybody was pumped for him. And then all of a sudden, he's walking off to the dugout. Fist pump falls on his face. And it's like, come on, man! Just walk off the field.
That doesn't symbolize the Marlins.
Yeah, this season, it's got to symbolize more than anything.
I actually, someone tweeted out, "Hey, Chad Qualls, would it let the air beat you up?" I had to find it, dude. I had to go find it on YouTube or wherever it was I could find it because I couldn't believe what I was. Yeah. It was hilarious.
All right. So number 2, Kimberly Lewis.
Who?
Kimberly Lewis is a Redskins fan.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God.
Who went very early to Redskins training camp.
This was funny too. You haven't heard this?
No.
Oh my God.
And she went really early. She was up really close to the wall. And then, she didn't get an autograph. All right? She didn't get an autograph. And you know what happened? But she invested early. She was there. And then she goes to her car. And apparently she's pregnant. So the hormones are causing some unusual reactions. And she records herself having a tirade I can't believe the Redskins would do this to their fans. I was there from 6 in the morning.
It was just
and
like
that. In the
people
morning.
got there like right when they were done, and they got autographs, and I didn't. Do not go to Redskins training camp. I repeat, do not go to. They don't care about their fans. And I'm not far. Like I know I'm relatively inaccurate when it comes to Mary, but I'm not far from what she actually said. That's basically her recording herself having an emotional breakdown
Why do
about
people
not
do
getting
that?
autographs from training camp.
Why do they record themselves?
Dude, I heard that. I didn't see it. I heard that, but I heard like it was like 10 minutes of that crap.
Yeah, yeah, just her in the car, just.
That's painful.
By the way, her baby's gonna be a little bitch then.
Oh my God, it's gonna be a brat, and it's gonna be so good for her to suffer a brat. So Kim Lewis, for that. On a side note, I don't know if they still have it up on Yahoo, but there's a couple of Cowboy fans who made a response. A dad got his 3 boys to basically mimic it on the reverse. I can't believe the Cowboys would have 28 signatures on my ball. I can't believe they gave me gloves and for free. And at the end of it, the dad goes, and that's why the Redskins suck and the Cowboys rule. And they're like, yes! Great parents on that
That's
one.
great stuff right there.
funny.
That's good stuff.
yeah.
Right
That's funny.
there. It's gonna be hard to top. But I'm gonna give you a history lesson of Gomer Mieda.
There you go.
In 1997, 1998, Wade Nzinga decides to sell the then Florida Marlins. The guy comes on the scene. His name is John Henry. John Henry buys the Marlins for $158 million. He then proceeds to tell the public how we're going to build a stadium, we're going to make the team, blah, 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 blah. Very quickly, John Henry figures out that he's not going to get any money out of Miami. Now, I want you to think about this. All right? These idiots that we have in power now, who I'm going to get to in a second, they got $400 million plus out of Miami-Dade County. But John Henry decided he couldn't get any. John Henry then proceeds in 1999 to move on to Boston, where he pays $600 million to be part of the Boston group, Boston ownership group, and then goes on to win. He's Gomer Mieda number 1. Part of this transaction comes in Gomer Mieda number 2, which is Major League Baseball. Because when John Henry decides he wants to leave the Marlins, at the same time, King Gomer Mieda, who we're going to get to in a second, wants to leave the franchise he's been a part of, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So Major League Baseball arranges for John Henry to sell his team to Jeffrey Luria for $158 million, and in the same breath arranges for the Major League Baseball to buy the Expos so that Jeffrey Luria can buy the Florida Marlins. Not only do they arrange the buying of they bought the Expos for $120 million. Jeffrey Luria then conned Major League Baseball, Gomer Mieda number 2, into loaning him the other $20 million to buy the team from John Henry.
Wow.
He did not put a dime out of his own pocket to buy the freaking Marlins. Major League Baseball, Gomer Mieda number 2. Which brings me to El Grande Gomer Mieda. Jeffrey Luria comes on the baseball scene in 1999. The Montreal Expos are already relevant in baseball. As a matter of fact, in the strike-shortened season, they were guaranteed to win the pennant, and the strike cheated them out of it. It took him 3 years. He walked onto the Montreal Expos stage talking about how we're going to take this to the next level. We're going to move forward. We're going to get a new stadium and all this crap. He talked to the Expos. 3 years later, he's destroyed the franchise, and he leaves town with Bud Selig's blessing, like I just pointed out. By the way, as a result of that, 14 companies in the Expos region sued his ass, sued him, Major League Baseball, all sorts of people, because they destroyed baseball in Montreal.
Wow.
So he moves here. And by the way, when he takes over the Expos, this is what a piece of crap this guy is. When he takes over the Expos, Felipe Alou has been the manager of the Expos for 9 years, 9 successful years with the Expos. As they move into the 2000 season, he brings 2 ex-managers, one of them being Jeff Torborg, on the field as guest instructors. He never asked Felipe Alou if he could do this. He just did it. A year later, Jeff Torborg replaced Felipe Alou as the manager of the Montreal Expos. This is a guy that was with the organization for 9 years, 9 successful years at the Expos. And then he moves down here. So in 2001, he buys the team, $158 million. He borrows all the money. Everything this guy has touched in this town has turned to crap. Because he won the World Series the very next year. None of that was his doing. That was already in place by Dave Dombrowski. None of that was his doing. I don't care what they say. I don't care what David Sampson was. None of that was his deal. But let's talk about since that year. Since 2003. He wins the World Series. He immediately starts to ask Major League Baseball if he can solicit other cities to move the team. Why? To pressure Miami-Dade into giving him a stadium. 2003. In 2005, he goes out and hires Joe Girardi as the coach and then proceeds to dismantle the team. By the way, Joe Girardi becomes Coach of the Year to be fired because he told Jeffrey Luria one day, hey, shut up and stop talking to the umpire. He would have been fired on the spot, but his son-in-law, that little piece of crap David Sampson, talked him out of it. He fired him at the end of the season. Next comes Freddie Gonzalez. Freddie Gonzalez, who, by the way, is the manager of the best team in baseball right now, the Atlanta Braves, who managed them last year. Oh, by the way, since then, Joe Girardi has won a World Series with the Yankees, by the way. Just thought I'd share that with you. Freddie Gonzalez, I think, was runner-up and coach of the year, fired him because, again, we can't get along with the guy. He hires Guillen. Guillen goes on his communist rant. He's got to be fired. Not only does he have to be fired, but the entire team has to be traded away because they couldn't play for Guillen. Then he hires Tino Martinez, who we've already alluded to in this. And by the way, it's well known, these are Jeffrey Luria picks.
Yeah.
These are his picks. Tino Martinez was his guy. He's an abuser. He gets fired. Heath Bell, $9 million.
Yes.
$9 million can't get it out.
Our highest
That
played
was
player, but
Jeffrey Luria's guy.
that's our highest played player on the roster right
John
now.
Beck. Buck, by the way.
Buck.
John Buck, by who the way, beat us last night.
Yes, he
because
did.
you know why? The crap that is Luria is not touching him anymore. John Buck was his guy. Everything this guy touches turns to total crap. Not to mention, he swindled us out of over $400 million in taxpayer dollars.
That's, yeah. Is that the shining crown?
All of these reasons, Jeffrey Luria, you are one huge come mierda.
Come mierda!
Isn't that the big jewel on his crown, the stadium? The
All
fact
of those
that he conned them?
politicians, I can't say things I want to say, like they should be shot and hung. All of those politicians should just basically have to just forfeit the rest of their life savings and their pensions because they got like I'm in shock. The owner of the Dolphins, because he got
Stephen
screwed,
Ross?
because Stephen Ross should go to that man's house, go to all the politicians, and just slap him. Because he can't get help because of them. I don't know. Major League Baseball, it's funny because when I knew it was coming on the show, looking for, and I thought about Tino Martinez first. That's kind of how it led to this. I did some research on Jeffrey Luria. Like, even in the art world, they consider him a scumbag.
Really?
Yes, because he doesn't love art. It's just he's just in it to make money. They and I don't know the art world. I'm not like that, but like they supposedly like art dealers, they'll open up a gallery and have a young artist in and display his work. That's not Jeffrey Luria, brother. Jeffrey Luria takes known artists. This sounds familiar, by the way. Takes their product and makes a profit off of it, and then gets rid of it.
Wow, I did not know. You know what? I didn't know that stuff about Montreal and everything. That's crazy.
When I decided to include Jeffrey Lurie, I wanted to look up what exactly happened. It took him 3 years. I remember I went to see the Montreal Expos. They spring train right here in Vero. I think it's Vero. It's either Vero or it's what's the one up there by Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie. I went to see them play. They had Delino, the Shields. These are old guys, but I remember they were that good.
It was the Vlad Guerrero years.
Vlad
Yeah.
Guerrero.
They were
Guerrero.
awesome at that time.
Love Vlad
I
Guerrero.
mean, we're talking when the strike comes, they're clearly out in front of the AFC East race. I looked it up because I didn't really know the timeline with Jeffrey Lurie. 3 years, he destroyed the whole. I mean, some of this stuff I don't really understand because it wasn't in the. But like they supposedly had financial plans in place to like re-energize the and he totally destroyed it all because it was all about money for this guy. Like the more I read about him, the more pissed I am at the way the politicians just let him kind of piss all over us. It's ridiculous. Major League Baseball needs to get rid of him.
I told you he is a real life super villain. He's an actual bad guy.
He's
I
Joffrey.
mean, how many times?
No, it's
How many
Joffrey.
times do you see that where he's an actual cartoon
Joffrey
character?
actually has some kind of influence and say so.
Yeah, but you think about other guys that were characterized like that. You think about George Steinbrenner. George Steinbrenner eventually got it and stepped away, and the Yankees became good. Al Davis is the other guy that I can think of that's like that. Al Davis, at least when he was sane, it worked.
Right.
Like they won. Like
Right.
the moves he made worked. Snyder's another one. He was known as a meddling owner. I think he's backed off a little lately. It seems like the Redskins are on their way back. I mean, obviously getting RG. I can't find any example. Like I was thinking about that 2003 World Series. Those were all Dombrowski's people. He inherited those people. Those weren't his people.
Right.
And so to take credit for that is just crap.
And then he
It's
traded
total crap.
Cabrera.
No, the Cabrera trade. I mean, we could go on and on for
He's
hours.
going for his second triple crown this year.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, and you wanted to claim that's about money, but they gave Heath Bell $9 million. They gave freaking Ricky Nolasco got 11.
Dude,
like it's
I'm telling you.
absurd.
Heath Bell is still the highest played player on the team.
No, it's absurd. The absurd. Well, I remember there was a guy a pitcher that they got and paid a lot of money to, and they traded him to the Braves, and they were still paying like half his salary, and he'd come down here and just beat the crap out of us every time. Like we're paying him to
kick our
beat
ass.
us.
Yeah, to kick our ass.
Like how do you, like he just
That's how we
crap.
roll.
Total crap, bro.
I've honestly, I got to do a petition or something. We have to contact 30 for 30, and they have to do a documentary on the Marlins as a franchise.
Billy Corbin, he's on Twitter. Tweet him.
I'm gonna tweet him. I have to
Tweet him.
You know how much material that is? Wow. Thank you, Time. We gotta thank Defo and DefoRadio.com. Thank Ken. Thank Mike. Thank all the guys that are on the website and put us up there. They're growing. They're expanding, and we'll grow with them. So look for us there. YouTube.
The Sports Table Miami.
Look for us there. By the way, the last episode is in mobile accessible.
God! YouTube, go ahead. God,
We're on Facebook.
Needing a damn AI, man.
We're on Facebook. The Sports Table Miami, right?
No, Sports Table.
Just the
Sport. We
Sports
didn't have
Table.
to add the Miami.
Yeah. Just the Sports Table. Alan does a good job. He posts up stuff where I'm about to post it and I already see it's on the page. Oh, okay. Alan's got it. My other post was this one, the MLB.com. My suggestion was a lechon sandwich, but
Yeah. Face of the franchise.
yeah. We're on Twitter.
We are. I don't know why Carlos is letting me down, man.
Well, he's
as
been
many
out of town.
tweets.
He's been out of town.
I have as many tweets as Carlos.
Really?
Yeah, I put a tweet up when I put the show up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Carlos has one tweet before that.
Yeah.
We handed it to Sauron. He's not doing anything.
Sauron's had his eyes closed. He's vacationing.
The little pink guy. He's got pink eye. He needs a drops.
He's vacationing right now. Yeah, look for us on live stream. We didn't live stream today, but we'll probably pick that up later. By the way, I realize I'm in next week. The week after is when I'll be gone. So the Sports Table, look for us again next week. Thank you to you guys. Alan, you're always here. Appreciate all the work that you do. Jason, really appreciate you coming in. Stemmer, coming off the bench. Strong showing today. Strong showing today from both of you. Thanks to Roudy for coming in studio. Thanks to Ricky for calling in from New York. Thanks to you guys. Thanks for listening to us and watching us. And I mean, we don't get a lot of views, but we'll be in so many places it'll add up. That's what I'm doing. I'm counting all the Facebook likes and the views and as one thing together. Even though 30% or 40% is me. So. So for Theo George, Theo Carlos, for Alan, Jason, and Stemmer, I'm Chris. We're the Sports Table. Thanks for listening. We'll see all of you guys next week.
Later.
Sayonara.
See ya.